Have any of you guys here ever felt like if you had a lot of cash, it would be very, very easy to be confident? You guys ever feel that way? Yeah. You ever feel like if I woke up today and I had, a bunch of bling, a fat house, $1 million wardrobe, fleet of cars, then you would walk down the street feeling like you're the fucking man. You ever feel that way? Yes, sir. Okay. You never felt that way? No. You're a hippie, you got like the blanket thing on. But for most people, okay? So the thing is, of course he doesn't. Okay, so it's very normal, particularly for men, but women can feel it too, to feel like if I had a Lamborghini, I would just feel like I'm the fucking man, right? And then, do you ever have like this imagination in your mind where maybe you have a Lamborghini and you would just pull up on a girl and she'd see you in the Lamborghini and then she'd be attracted to you because you have the Lamborghini? Okay. Well, you have to understand, this is in effect what companies prey on, okay? So what they do is they rob you via advertising of your sense of confidence, and then they sell it back to you, okay? They steal your confidence and they sell it back by frame controlling you into believing in their value system. So your mind sees a guy on a billboard with a Lambo and it looks cool, and then you imagine yourself having that, and then you see a gap between where you are and where they are, which then fucks with your mind. So that is generally what it is that we feel, okay? But I want to show you the gap and the reality of that kind of stuff and show you why you're not necessarily missing as much as you think. Now, here's where it gets interesting. I am a wealth building coach. I've done 9 figures in sales just out of my own mouth, okay? I'm a $100 million plus lifetime coach. That means I put $100 million through the pipes of stuff that I sold or people that were on my team that I was, had equity with them and all that. So literally, I've done that. I made a lot of money. And I think I'm gonna break a couple billion in my career if AI doesn't come in and just make universal basic income in like a month from now or something. Okay? I'll probably do a couple billion if I live and if things go well, okay? But nothing's guaranteed, right? It's God willing. So the point is, I know a shitload about how to make money. I mean, you would rarely meet someone who knows more about how to make money than me. So if I know how to make cash like the back of my fucking hand, and if you guys catch me in any event that I do, I'll be like, who here made more cash because they learned from me? And everybody, like not everybody, tons of people will tell you that they did. Why is it I'm sitting here telling you I know how to make cash? Wouldn't it make sense that as a teacher, it would be in my best interest to say, if you learn how to make money, girls will like you more. Let me show you how to make cash. Would that be in my best interest to say that?
Yes, financially.
Then I could sell you 2 courses, right? Well, guess what? I'm going to sell you 2 courses, but the point is, I'm not going to connect them together. Okay, I do sell wealth building courses, and I sell courses about social skills, but I separate them as far as the cause and effect. Okay, so I'm out in Los Angeles right now, and I've decided that I'm going to be doing a summer tour of events. Do you guys think they should go to the summer tour? 100%. Do you guys think that they should go to the summer tour? You should 100% go. So look, let's take a little walk. Let's talk. Let me take a little walk. Okay, listen.
All because of him.
Okay, so the summer tour, I'm going to be doing probably my last major touring for the free events. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit up Los Angeles, San Francisco, Portland, Seattle, Minnesota, Chicago, Detroit, Denver, New York, and I'm going to be doing it this summer. These are smaller cities. Chicago, I've been there a lot, but honestly, this is probably the last free event tour that I'm going to be doing over a summer. And then next year, I'm going to be staying home in LA a lot. I've got a lot of reason to be back here. So if you'd like to come out to an event where I'm going to show you how to make cash, I'm going to get you public speaking, I'm going to do trauma healing on you, I'm going to teach you all sorts of social skills. We're going to do a field trip at the end of the day. I'm going to change your life, build a mastermind group for you, everything's gonna be different after the free event. Look, you've been to a free event, right? How would you describe it?
Life-changing. That's why I'm here, like in LA.
Get yourself out to a free event. Click the link below right now. As soon as you do, what winds up happening is we start sending you all sorts of really cool free videos that are hidden, videos that you can't get. We get you inside of a mastermind group. We get you meeting the other people that are coming. We start engaging with you as soon as you sign up. So click the link below. There's even virtual ones. If those cities aren't for you, I'd recommend that you fly in or do a virtual one. The free event this summer tour is going to be amazing. Again, Los Angeles, Portland, Seattle, Minnesota, Chicago, Detroit, Denver, a bunch of cities. Click the link below now, and we'll see you at the free event summer tour. Looking forward to meeting you in person. So what most guys do is they say, once you're balling, the ladies are gonna like you. That's kind of where they take it, right? I say, ball out, but don't expect that girls will like you because you ball out. Why should you ball out?
For you.
Because it's dope. Because, don't you wish you had this shit? Stop it, you know you do, okay, except for him. So,
I'll take it.
Okay, he'll take it too, but he would sell it, okay, for his camper van. So, okay, but the point that I'm getting at, right, is like, it's fun, right? Living in a baller crib's fun. I mean, particularly to help your children. If I were to tell you the things that I'm able to do for my kids, I think it would really inspire you guys to go make money. So even if you don't care about money for yourself, when I would just tell you about what I've been able to do for my family, for my kids, for my friends, being able to do free events, all this stuff, it's really, really fucking cool what you can do when you have money. Look, even something as simple as this, right? Like, just getting to buy really expensive herbs, like high quality reishi, high quality ginseng, that can allow your mind to become sharper and can allow you maybe to live longer. That's fucking awesome. So having money is badass, okay? Don't ever let anyone tell you like money is irrelevant or money's not spiritual. Like, yeah, I'm really sure that me taking my son to Montana is against God.
Yeah, right.
Like me going on a fishing trip with my son to Montana, like Jesus will be mad that you took your son for a fishing trip in Montana and that you got him a tutor to help him to be more intelligent and got him healthy organic food. Okay, so people are like, it's not spiritual to make money or things like that. It's bullshit, okay? Worshiping money is definitely not spiritual. It's evil. That's called idolatry. In the book of Exodus with Moses, there's a golden calf. People are worshiping a golden calf. That's where you lose your spirituality. But being able to add more to the world, like look, I didn't like talking about this, but I just want to make the points for talking about money. What do I spend a ton of my time doing?
Free events.
Free events, free videos. You guys got a lot of good free stuff from me?
Yes.
You think that was cheap?
No.
Do you know what my budget was over the years in making free content and put it out?
Millions.
Tens of millions of dollars. So money is not against spirituality as long as you don't worship it and have idolatry. And money is also not something you use as a substitute to be attractive. I know that in your mind, you feel like if you had cash, you'd feel like you're the fucking man. I know that you're telling yourself that. Let me show you how this actually plays out. I have clients that are worth hundreds of millions of dollars, okay? I had a funny situation the other day. This guy was buying a 12K trading from me, and he sent me 1.2 million on accident. And then I said, you might want to take the bigger trading. So, okay, I sent back the money. It might surprise you. But the point is, I sent it back, and then he took an even better trading. But the point is that that guy, I think he's worth about 500 million. That guy who I love to death, who's worth 500 million, can get any of these dumb little chains or watches or any of this bullshit 1 million times over, okay? But guess who is the single hardest case in any given room as far as social skills and getting attraction? Who do you think it is?
The rich guy.
Of course it is. Because to get that much cash, what did he do to himself psychologically?
Turn himself to a machine.
He forgot how to have fun.
Very serious.
Forgot how to have fun, turned himself into a machine. What else?
Very serious.
Very serious. What else? Logic. Okay, look.
Fear of losing his money.
Fear of losing his money. He's actually not too fearful. But the point is, like, you know, even look at Tony Hsieh. You guys remember the guy that ran Zappos? Tony, greatest fucking guy, right? But a lot of the time, all this grind, it gets to the point where you turn to drugs as a way to feel good because you don't even know how to pump your own state anymore. So this stupid ass street drug that any crackhead from the poorest part of town could do, now you've got a guy that sold his business to Amazon for $850 million doing the same dumb shit that someone from the poorest part of the inner city would do. He doesn't know how to have fun. I can tell you that whenever I've done some big product launch and I'm in the house for months and months, I get so logical. If I had to work all day on that for a couple months, you know, maybe I launched it, I got $2-3 million, boom, within a couple days, which is not even a ton of money, but you know, when I was younger, it was a pretty big deal. Pretty exciting, right? Imagine you're like in your 20s, like, oh my God, yeah, $2 million, right? And literally, I'd go out and I could barely start a conversation for like a month or two after. Because it puts you in your head. So what happens is that you give up your fucking soul thinking that the money is gonna solve everything for you, okay? I'm gonna make money and they're gonna be waiting for me at the end. The classic examples that I bring up from movies, even though they're just movies, is Napoleon. If you guys have ever seen the new Napoleon movie with Ridley Scott, where this guy this guy is probably the richest person maybe to ever live, if we exchange the dollar amount for the time that they had it, okay? Basically probably the richest guy ever. And he was getting cheated on constantly by his wife, Josephine. And they show him in the movie going, like they show him having sex very robotically, trying to draw attention to the fact that he'd lost his soul. So you just go, you go, like that. What's that?
That's where that meme's from.
What meme?
It's just like that clip.
It shows him banging Josephine in the meme. That's hilarious. So, okay, or the other one they show is Marty Supreme, where he's like this kind of like narcissistic little fuckboy. And there's, you know, Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank? He plays the rich guy in the movie who's fucking that guy's wife in the park while she gives him the jewelry. So that's another example of that kind of thing, okay? So what happens is guys will make money. By the time that you get there, you're usually so damn old that your dick barely even works anymore. And then you go buy a Rolex, which most girls do not even know what a Rolex is, barely. That might surprise you. Yeah, you wear watches are to network with dudes, by the way. I don't know if you guys knew that. Men love fucking watches. Women have no clue what a watch is, okay? So, in most cases. So that being, I got a lot of nice watches. I can tell you, like, the dudes are like, yeah, whoa, bro. Right, same thing with lifting weights, right? There's a meme about that. Like, you get super big, and you think all these girls will come, and all these guys are like, nice pecs, bro. And the girls don't even care. Girls just like a guy with, like, maybe like a swimmer's physique or something. So, anyway, the idea being, you wait till you're too old to even enjoy it. Like that guy with the 500 mil, he's in his 50s. He's too old to even fully enjoy the money. Now, he's having a big resurgence now. He can afford to hire me, so I'm showing him the time of his fucking life, and I'm gonna make sure I get him the promised land. But like, it's harder to get him to the promised land. Like for him, he would basically need a year of one-on-ones to undo the damage to get to probably the same skill level that a young hustler in his early 20s could get to in 4 days. In a group training. Like, young hustler comes to my group training 4 days, the level he'd be at, the guy with the 500 mil, who I love so much, would probably need about a year of ongoing one-on-one training just to get to the same level as the young hustler. Because he has destroyed his swagger by making money. Felix Dennis, who wrote a book called How to Get Rich, or 88, something or other, right? He said that money will destroy your poetry. Making money will destroy your poetry. So basically what it is that, try to understand, we as men imagine that if we had money, we'd be balling out of control. That's how we like to imagine the money thing. You guys need to understand, when I go out in LA, I've got access to most of the best clubs. Now, sometimes I leave town for a while and I lose all my access. You know, LA, it's pretty fickle, man. You're gone for like 3 months. They don't remember your name anymore. But probably by the end of this trip, they won't even know my name. But the point is, like, you know, I've got pretty good access, like when I'm actually actively around LA, okay? And so I'll go out and there's guys that are spending $5,000 on the table minimum, but really 15, 20, 30 grand on the table for one night. You think a boot camp's expensive. These guys are spending 30 grand for a table for a night to get nothing. So understand that, like, these guys come, they pay all that money. I will go pay nothing. I go wander around and girls will come up to me. Now, I don't drink alcohol, but they'll try to give me that dude's drinks. Super disrespectful to that guy. They'll run off and come hang out with me while that guy's at the table. I can't, like, it's to the point that a lot of the promoters, like, because so many promoters in LA came up watching my stuff, like the biggest promoters in LA came up watching my stuff. So they invite me out, and literally their clients are like, yo, don't bring that Owen guy. Okay? That rich multimillionaire will buy a $30,000 table. I come to the table, and I don't even do it on purpose, but I accidentally wind up ruining it for him. So the guy that bought the $30,000 table, what does he look like to the women by spending $30,000 on the table? Like he's balling out of control? What does he look like? Like a chump. The girls know very well that he's some lame-o who thought that he could buy his way in. They come, mooch all his booze, while the girl goes home with the club promoter and his little ginger buddy with the gray beard, looks like Santa. So that is what's going on. You're not balling out of control, bro. You're a loser, okay? Guys with money are viewed mostly, a lot of time, by the opposite sex as losers because they had to try too hard in order to compensate, okay? It's compensation. It is, say the word compensation. Compensation. Say the word self-qualification. Self-qualification. Okay? Now, attraction, hilariously, is based on this. First of all, not demonstrations of higher value, but actually demonstrations of lower value. Okay? Let me teach some of these to you. They're classic. These are classics. Okay, say that word. Demonstration of lower value. Demonstration of lower value. Okay, so what do you think is better? I got a big dick. I got that big dick. Or I'm hung like a little wet carrot. But it's very proud. And it vibrates. Okay? Which one do you think is better?
The second one.
Always the second one. Okay? I'm really confident. Versus, I'm shy. I'm just a little shy. I'm just a shy boy. Okay? And I fall in love. I'm gonna fall in love because I'm shy. Okay? Which one's swag?
Second.
I'm shy. Okay? I'm just a little shy boy. Just a baby boy. I'm gonna fall in love. I'm gonna cry. Okay? That's swagger, right? Demonstration of lower value, okay? What do you do for a living? Well, I run a seminars company, and over the life cycle of our business, I've done over 100 million in sales. How about this one? What do you do for work? Work at Taco Bell. Right now, I chop the lettuce in the back. But I'm hearing rumors that soon, I'll be making the burritos up at the front. You come in, I got you, okay? I got you. I'm gonna make that burrito for you, okay? Or you could say you run an OF, just being a clown, right? You could say, show them cheeks, you know, right? Something like that. You could say, an old school one's like a broken lighter repairman. You know, you ever see a lighter? It's broken, and someone's got to come fix the lighter. You could say something like that, right? So a demonstration of lower value. Where do you live? I live in a mansion in the Hollywood Hills. How about this? Where do you live? My mom's basement. In 100% of case, I'm going to say mom's basement. Okay? I live in my mom's basement. Recently, I started saying I live in San Bernardino. That was a fucking pimp. That was so sick. I started saying I live in San Bernardino. Okay, San Bernardino is this like really like bad smelling, fairly poor area outside of LA where like it has like all the smog of LA just accumulates in San Bernardino, right? I'm like, I live in San Bernardino, you know, in my mom's basement. And that's baller, okay? So that doesn't mean that you have to do that. You don't have to make witty lines where you clown yourself. There's no one technique to be attractive, okay? Like, I could give you this example, and then someone else who's really good, he does the opposite, and he actually does say he lives in a mansion or whatever, and maybe it works for him, okay? Different things can work for different people. There's no one path of exactly what works. But in general, look, even I mean, this is a bit of a nasty one. I don't say this that often, but on occasion, when the time is right, you know, like where, like you know, like where are you from? What would be like a crass answer?
Mom's house.
My mom's pussy. Why is that a good answer from time to time? What's that?
Brutal truth.
It is the truth, but it's not just that it's the truth. Because it shows an unwillingness to take the conversation seriously. Okay? You're not going to take the conversation seriously, okay? Say to me, where are you from?
Where are you from?
My mom's pussy. Where do you live? Ask me.
Where do you live?
San Bernardino.
What'd you do yesterday?
Ate meatloaf. Okay? So what happens is, in the act of not self-qualifying, your value skyrockets. Okay? I'd marry you, divorce you, and take half your money. As an example, okay? Now, by the way, things like my mom's pussy, that's funny only, like, don't say that shit if you don't have calibration. Don't say the word pussy to someone you just met if you don't have calibration. You say that when laughter is high and it is an obvious comedic accentuator, okay? Like, what you'll find is once someone's laughing, you can get a little bit more off the wall, and because they're already laughing, it just adds to the laughter, okay? Now, what I'm trying to show you here is that everything has to be not self-qualifying, okay? Never, ever self-qualify, okay? Now, that is where attraction is a little bit different from sales. Like, if I'm gonna sell something, I'm gonna tell you what's in it. I'm gonna talk about what's in it because you're about to spend some money on it. But in attraction, actually saying what's in it fucks up the dynamic. Being willing to talk about your assets fucks up the dynamic. Yep.
So why is it that saying what's in it, similar to that sales analogy, like messes with the dynamic?
Cause like, if you're a dude, right? Mm-hmm. And maybe you want to, so you want to take a boot camp, right? You probably want to know how many days are in the boot camp, right? You're like, hey, how many days are in the boot camp? I'm like, my mom's pussy. You're like, could I just know how many days I need to book for this? You know what I mean, right? Like, that's not right? That's not moving the ball forward, right? But you have to understand that what you're really saying is two things. One is, I'm not gonna self-qualify to you. You guys see that? I'm not qualifying to you. Not happening. Now, here's where it gets tricky. When you've made that bread, man, you want to talk about it. Yeah. You got the Lambo outside? Come on, you want to show the photo on your phone? You want to show her. Hey, come here, come outside. Come outside. We got the Lambo. Come and see the Lambo. You want to show it. How would you not? I get it. I understand. But here's the thing. The mere fact that as soon as you say, I got the Lambo, what's happening is you're self-qualifying. Self-qualification, first of all, positions you as lower than the other person. What do we know about the word hypergamy, which is a scientific word? What does the scientific word hypergamy mean? Chasing the higher value. So if you're self-qualifying, what does that mean? You are the lower value. Now, when you've built yourself up, in your mind you're like, well, I built myself up. I want to show it. You know, I built this nest here. Look, the problem is it shows you as a provider, not a lover. And it shows you as a bitch. Okay? A straight bitch-made bitch. So you got to be careful, okay? Don't ever self-qualify. Or here's really, you want to get real clever with it? You self-qualify just every so often enough to keep them guessing, right? Like every so often you're like, no, actually I do have this. They're like, oh, wow. And then you like go, psych, and then you like pull it back, okay? But it's like, but then even then the qualification just becomes more of the joke. So you guys see where I'm going with this, okay? So you don't want to self-qualify because it positions you as below them, but also it positions you as a provider, not a lover, okay? So I can remember, look, when I was 21, this is why I'm so up on this money thing, right? Now, isn't it weird that a wealth building coach who is also the top expert in attraction coincidentally, wouldn't you think as a wealth building coach, I'd be excited to bring money into the equation? And guys, I gotta tell you something. I got homies that dog me on this shit. They dog me on this because a lot of my buddies are also wealth building coaches. What do they want to say to their clients, whether, especially their male clients, when they're motivating them to take a training on wealth building? What do they want to tell them?
Once you're rich, you'll have the girl.
Once you're rich, it's like Tony Montana. First you get the money, then you get the power, then you get the women. That's like what retard Tony Montana. So, okay. So also, how much is it in my interest to say it's about the money when I know so much about making cash? I'm mentioning this because there's a conspiracy theory. They go, Owen just says that because he teaches social skills. I'm like, I also teach making money. I teach that too. I'm just separating them. And if someday, by some miracle, I ever got like 8-pack abs and I got jacked, I still wouldn't say, once you've got the 8-pack, you're going to meet a girl. I also wouldn't say that. But would it be a good idea to get jacked? Fuck yeah, go do it. It's great. Just don't think it's going to handle attraction for you. That's all that I'm saying. Guys, believe it or not, sometimes there's a reason to do something not related to women. God forbid you just like being jacked. God forbid you like having some money for yourself. That's not all it to be for girls, guys. That's so crazy. That's crazy. But guys want to make women the center of everything. I also teach spiritual growth. And guys are like, well, how does that teach me to get women? I'm like, like, what kind of bitch are you that, like, your relationship to God, you're like, if my relationship to God doesn't get me a girl, fuck God. Like, if that's literally where you're coming from, that's so warped. That's so fucked. That's so fucked. I don't care about God if I don't get that pussy. Like, that's insane. Likewise, like, you should still care about money. You should still care about your health. But understand that there's a different dance that's happening between men and women. It's a dance. Okay, you ever see these animals where they do a specific, like some bird does like this weird dance and they mate? Humans actually have that. That's what the money looks guys don't get, is that you've got to teach the student the dance. But here's why they won't say it, because they don't know the dance. But they do know how to make money. So they go, oh, you could also get a girl, I guess. I don't know, I think. Yeah, buy my shit. Let me ask you a question. Does it ever occur to you that I'm almost the only guy that still goes out? Do you guys ever actually just pause and recognize that?
They don't go out anymore.
Who goes out?
No one. I can't.
Nobody. How many teachers, like, do you guys think that any of these guys you're learning from are like, all right, like, okay, let me be clear about this. I have a dark room in my house with not just blackout shades, it is sealed shut on the windows. All the alarms are taken out. I have blackout, thick blackout curtains on the door just to stop the light from coming in the door. Here at the hotel, literally, if you come to my room right now, it's taped shut. Every hotel I go to, I use big, like Ibrahim, what kind of garbage bags do we use? What is it?
Called 3 mil contractor bags. You can find them at your local.
Yeah, I'm using contractor bags and tape to seal the room. I've done this for decades because I'm awake till 6 a.m. every day. And then people are like, that's weird that you're like, thanks, bro. They're like, that's weird that you're awake till 6 a.m. every day. Do you know what's weird? I teach this. If you do 100 million in sales of a product, do you maybe have an obligation to actually practice what you preach?
Yes.
So people say like, how come you still go out? I'm like, if I'm gonna sell the fucking course, is it not an obligation to go out? That is weird to me that people think that I'm weird. In fitness, if the trainer still lifted weights, would they think that's weird?
Okay.
In piano, if the trainer still did piano, would they think that's weird? Why is it weird that I still go out? How many other teachers can you name on the entire internet that actually go out? Less than 10 probably. Weird, obscure, like random ones that like no one's ever even heard of for the most part. These guys aren't going out. They don't do it, okay? Everything in my energy, you can tell, is built to get over the speakers of a nightclub. Can you sense that? Can you guys tell that I would get over the speakers of a nightclub?
Yes.
I live in loud music. Can you tell? Can you tell that my energy is built to plow forward through all the distractions? Can you tell that my energy is built to be in an environment of competing stimulus and pump more stimulus to distract from the DJ, the music, the other guys, the girls, can you tell? That's me, okay? And I've gotten better at it every year. Every year my skills went up, my results went up. So what I'm trying to show you is it's a dance. It's unrelated to money at all, and it's loosely related to looks, but not that much. Like, yes, obviously a 6'4" Giga Chad compared to like a 4'11", like weird, I don't know, what's like a word for like a freak of nature, like a mongoloid or something, right? What's the word? I don't know what the word is, right? Like a bridge troll. I understand that like a 6'4", like if Henry Cavill, goes and chats, it's probably more likely than like a 4'6" guy maybe who had like Down syndrome or something. I understand that, okay? But people will use these extreme examples that don't bear out in real life. First of all, Henry Cavill's not in the club, and you're not 4'11". And I did this stuff even in a wheelchair, which kind of made me less than 4'11". I still did in a wheelchair and still had great results. In a wheelchair. You think I was scared in the wheelchair? First couple days, I was a little bit, but I got over that really quick. So understand that there's a dance that's happening, and one major component of the dance is you don't self-qualify. I don't self-qualify. You can a little bit here and there. Say the word pressure on, pressure off. Pressure on, pressure okay, off. So occasionally you can self-qualify just a sprinkle because, look, when Eminem has that one sensitive song about his daughter at the end of every album, what does that do to all the rest of the album where he just explodes?
Contrast.
It makes it even better. So that one little time that you self-qualify, that little pinch like that, they go, oh wow, thank you. Like that. Just that one little moment makes all the other stuff that much more powerful. But overall, you don't self-qualify. You just don't. You just fucking don't, dude. What the fuck? You just don't. Okay? Yes.
So what about like when you're
What about the meaning of life? Okay, good.
But like what about like when you're on a date and like she's actually really sincerely wanting to actually know the legit facts of your life after you've done like the jokes and all the other stuff? Like what's the balance behind that?
I'm not gonna be mean, but if I were to get you to get out the Instagrams of like the last 10 girls you were on dates with and then tell me what your like percentages are, I'm gonna predict that with what you're doing, it's probably nothing mind-popping. Am I right? I know you were happy probably till a minute ago, but.
No, I'm still happy. But
okay.
Yeah, I'm definitely I'm here to learn. That's what.
Okay, well I'm glad you're here to learn. So look, yes, a little bit here or there is fine, but it's about tension. You want to generate tension. So the more that you're like, well, I work at my factory, and the tension is going down. Okay? So basically, don't self-qualify. You can say what you do in a conversation if it's not from a mental space of self-qualification. But why do most of us want to get rich? Is it because we actually want the money, or is it because we want to fill a void? And this bears out these really, really deep philosophical questions of why we do almost anything that we do. You're going to do the best when you get down to the pure core of who you actually are. Like, let me give an example, okay? I can get away with being fat because I mostly like being fat. Okay? So me being kind of fat, does that bother me? No. But what if it did? Then it doesn't work. Okay? So a lot of the time a guy will lift weights and lift weights and lift weights because he's insecure. But what would, like, if I was to ask you guys, what is your ideal body that you would want to live in? And keep in mind that there's maintenance on certain body types where it's like literally like portioning the chicken, the broccoli, the this, like it's like a full-time job to be able to maintain this other kind of body. What would be like your ideal body where the amount of maintenance was something that you're willing to commit to and you felt fucking great, not for what other people thought, but for what you thought? What would be that for you?
Oh, you're asking me?
I'm asking any of you.
Like pretty fucking jacked, but not too crazy.
Okay, but are you willing to like get the protein powders, the creatines, the go to sleep, like all that stuff. So you're willing to like do that whole thing. Yeah. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever thought, I don't want to fuck with you, but have you ever thought about what you give up to do that?
Yeah.
Because I've actually done that when I was younger. I did all that stuff. It's exhausting. You got to bring protein powder with you. You got to time things. All this stuff. It's annoying as fuck, dude. And so if you really love it, like for me, I love the things that I do. Okay. So I'm doing the things that I fucking love. Some of those things that I do are hard, right? Like I released a 7-hour video last week. That's not easy to do, but I love it. Does that make sense? I love it. So I don't mind what went into making that 7-hour video because I love it. But what I realized over time is when I was younger, I would have liked to have been like jacked like Thor or something. But as I got older, I'm like, no, my ideal physique would just be like 11% body fat and toned.
It's probably pretty fucking jacked, I would say.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Got it. So you're saying something reasonable. Now, what if, though, you're somebody who loves fitness the way that I love public speaking? Like, that's your jam. Like, and it's not because of anybody else. You just really love the game of it, the macros, the timing. Like, you fucking love it. Then do it. Then go do it. Do you see what I'm saying here? So if I were to ask you, like, how much money do you actually want? Not to impress anybody, but the amount of money that would make you happy. And keep in mind, it does come at a sacrifice. You don't just get it. It comes at a sacrifice. What would be the amount where you're like, yo, I could do what I want to do. I feel fucking great. I can like get my kids what I want to get them, but I don't have to do it for anyone but me and my family and my joy. Because remember that if you go too far, it's not free. You're just working around the clock and you don't even have time to spend or enjoy it. So where would that, now, are there people on the earth who love the game so much? They're not self-qualifying. They love the game of money. Like, that's when they're in their flow. That's when they're almost like their protection from God happens when they're in their flow. Does that make sense? Do you guys ever sense that when you're really in your flow, that's when you have God's protection?
Yes.
When you're really doing what you're supposed to do.
The whole universe is
Are there some people who just are in God's protection and are in their flow making literally billions because that is like what they incarnated to do? Are there some people like that?
That's their poetry.
That's their poetry. Thank you. That was great. Thank you, bro. That's their poetry. Are there some people that are like that? Like their poetry is making not mills, but bills, billions. There's some people like that. Like, okay, you guys see how I am with public speaking? This is my poetry. Can you guys see that for me, God sent me here to do this?
Yes.
Want to hear something funny? I was in my last year of high school. I'd barely done any public speaking. I was nervous to do a speech. I went up to the front and I crushed it. It was so weird. I go up, I did a speech. It was about the Luddites. It was about like the Luddites from England or something. And I was like maybe 18. Barely done any public speaking. I went up and obliterated it. It was insane. I was like, and everyone started cheering. People were talking about the speech for like a month after. And I was not popular in high school at all. It was weird. Fucking weird, right? So my divine mission here involves and is to be a public speaker. So for me, like any one of you guys would probably like being able to public speak the way that maybe I speak, but your version of it. That'd be cool, right? But do you guys know what I've sacrificed to be at this level? Like even though I was good in high school, do you guys know the amount of sacrifice? Why do I do free tours? Let me show you why. This speech here, I wouldn't charge money for this, but as a free event, it's sick. Do you guys see what I'm saying here? Like, if you guys pay me 10 grand to be here and say this, you'd be like, dude, like, can we kind of focus on my stuff? If you pay me for a seminar, it's all about you. I don't talk about myself almost at all. It's all you. It's like exercises, feedback, in-field, personalization stuff. But free tour lets me work on my public speaking. I get stage time out of it. Well, what else could I be doing than being in Charlotte? A lot of things, right? So this didn't come without sacrifice. But when you guys look at me at my core, was it worth it? Not for everybody else, but for me. I was also lightly autistic growing up. Can you guys see why for me learning social skills was God's plan? Can you guys see that God sent me to the earth, gave me autism, made my life a living hell on earth for 2 decades, traumatized the fuck out of me to make me want to be the best I could be in social skills so I could teach it. So that makes sense for me. If that's your poetry, maybe it makes sense for you. But let me give another example that I gave earlier. Improv comedy. I love improv comedy. I've been to 3 classes of it. I thought it was sick. I was happy with the 3 classes that I did. I got the gist of it. It was fun. I thought it was amazing. And I can totally see how for somebody else, it's a great path. But I'm not going to be a full-time improver, not because I don't like it or can't crush it. I crush improv. But I'm not going to do it because I have a different poetry. Okay? So what guys do, here's what they do. Here's what I'm trying to show you. Let me bring this full circle. Guys will think that they need to be super jacked. They think they need to be super rich, but the women can detect that's not his poetry. That is an elaborate form of self-qualification. They know. So if you're someone for whom being a billionaire is your poetry, you won't probably get penalized for that. You can get away with it. If you're Arnold Schwarzenegger, do you guys remember Arnold Schwarzenegger in the 70s? Like, he built a physique that even though he did use steroids, was like, I mean, look, no homo, but the man's got a beautiful fucking physique. Again, no homo, but I like gay people too. It's not my poetry, right? But the point is, can you guys see how for him that makes sense? But do you see the look of Arnold versus the look of, say, Ronnie Coleman or some of these other really freakishly space alien looking guys? What does that look like? It looks like mental illness. And I met Ronnie Coleman. He'll never see this video. If I thought he'd see this, I wouldn't post it. But the point is, like, I met Ronnie. He's not mentally healthy. You dig what I'm saying here? Can you guys see how there's a lot of rich guys that got rich for the wrong reasons? It becomes what? It's a neurosis. It's also massive self-qualification. So a lot of guys that want to get better with women, they think that if they make enough money or if they get jacked enough, they'll finally be good enough. When in reality, I'm rich. And what do I say I do for a living if I meet a girl?
Work at Taco Bell.
I work at Taco Bell. The essence of attractiveness is non-self-qualification. But what if your entire life is an elaborate self-qualification? You're fucked. So part of my journey and my path is when you're learning to get really good in this art form of social skills and attraction, you have inner work that you do and you have outer work that you do. Outer work would be like, hey bro, next time they ask, say you're hung like a little wet carrot, hardy, hardy, hard, right? That's outer technique. You can learn that in about a millisecond. You go say some funny line, okay. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, you know? Probably does, maybe doesn't. But the harder part is the years of self-analysis, of figuring out who you actually are. And as you figure out who you are, every year you get more and more to the core of absolute authenticity. And figuring out who am I? And embracing that. And then even becoming very congruent, which is an alignment in your thoughts, words, and actions. Say the word congruent. Congruent. Say alignment. In thoughts, words, and actions. Thoughts, words, and actions. But also even leaning into my weirdness. Say that. Leaning into my weirdness. Yeah, so notice that I don't round out my weirdness. I lean into my weirdness. But you don't want to do that from a space of overcompensation. But if you can figure out who you really are and then be congruent in your thoughts, words, and actions, and then figure out what's quirky or different about you and lean into that, that's a very powerful place to be coming from. And what happens is it changes the fidelity of your communication. So do you guys see how my voice booms in the room? You don't know this, but that's not technique. That is the ting of absolute congruence. If I become incongruent and fake, my voice stops acting like this. Now at home they can't hear it because the mic caps it, okay? It fucks it up. But you guys can tell the audience at home how loud I am.
He's fucking loud.
He's so loud it almost hurts, actually.
Well, you guys hear how my voice bangs off the walls? That's not technique. That's authenticity. When you get aligned and you get in tune with your natural rhythms, what happens is that your voice will bounce off the walls. Because your energy becomes high fidelity. And people listen. This is very, very, very subtle. This is a very subtle and abstract lesson that you guys are getting here today, okay? So get it to where not only do you not, look at the layers of non-self-qualification. There's layers to it. One layer is, don't be like, I got a big dick. Instead you say, I'm hung like a baby wet carrot. That's one layer. Another layer is, don't make more money than is what makes you happy. Not from you being a lazy fuck, by the way. That's the other side of it. Okay, you as a lazy fuck, a fucktard, that's not the real you either. You're not a fucktard. Like, my poetry is, I'm a fucktard. Okay? You said not to make more money than I want to make. And I like being an incel, whacking off to my porn and anime tentacle porn and eating Cheetos and covering my keyboard in Cheeto dust and cum. Okay? That's not the real you. I think. Maybe that is the real me all this time. Now, sounds like a great Friday night. So the real you is not a lazy fucktard. But you, when you connect to God, you connect to your divine essence, your protection, where that's really you. And there might be one person out of many thousand that literally wants to build a physique like Arnold. Like you can tell he's built, that guy will build a beautiful physique. Like he builds something beautiful that he loves and he crafts it. That's his art. He loves biomechanics. He likes how the body works. Like he loves that. But that's very different from somebody who's like, oh, I'm not good enough for a girl. I gotta get jacked now. Oh, I gotta take steroids now. Which again, maybe the upper levels of fitness, maybe somebody would do that. If that's your poetry, do it. Or oh, I need more money. Look, if you're someone who's like, I have a plan to change the world. I love entrepreneurship. I love creating jobs. I like creating value. I like innovating. I like the challenge. I like the climb. I like the game. And that's you. And your highest version of yourself is a billionaire, and you're born for that, fuck yeah, do it. And women will not view that as self-qualification if that's really who you are. Here's what's kind of fucked up. Look, women will often fuck a dude who is the biggest man whore ever if that's really who he is. If who he really is she hooks up with him in half an hour, and that's who he is, it's quite common that she'll enter into his tunnel of reality, and in that reality tunnel, that's the kind of stuff that happens. I'm not saying every girl, only would ever be consensual. I'm just making the point that that's a common thing. And so then if you go to her and you're like, well, you hooked up with him in half an hour, but me, you made wait a month. She's like, yeah, but that's not you. That's who he is. And you're like, well, how's that an excuse? But to them, that's real. To them, that's real. So in many cases, obviously, there's different structure, different folks. Not every girl's the same. But in general, that's a common thing. So it depends if that's really who you are. There's some guys that only like to fuck in threesomes. And if that's really who that guy is, it wouldn't be uncommon that a girl's like, here, I'll bring my friend. If that's really who you are. That's his poetry. And she's like, I want to go into that authentic experience with this man. That's his poetry. He wants to show me and my friend an amazing time that we could not have on our own, and he wants to show us something special. She'll be more open to that. But if you're some little goblin who's I need two, right? Like that, she'll sense that a mile away, okay? She'll sense that shit a mile away. So understand that non-self-qualification At the basic layer is like, don't be like, I got a Lambo. Okay? But that said, what if you're a guy who loves motorsports? You love vehicle, like you're really passionate about it. Like you could cry when you talk about motorsports. You really love it. So you didn't buy it to flex, you bought it because you love it. Does that make sense? You really do love it. You actually enjoy it. It's something that you enjoy. Okay? So if you enjoy it and that's what you're born to do and you love cars, if you bring a girl and you show her that you've got like 6 supercars and that you take them racing and you know you're really passionate, what's she gonna sense emanating from you when you talk about it?
The passion.
The poetry, the passion. Like he really does like this. But what if you're some little fucktard and you're like, I have Lamborghini, time for sexy time. Then she's gonna sense that. But here's where it gets neat. You don't need to be jacked like Arnold. You don't gotta have money like Elon. And you don't have to like, you know, have a race car fleet. You know what else women will find attractive? You like going to the beach. If you like, and that shit's free. If you just like going to the beach, they will get into that. Because they feel the authenticity and they feel the passion behind it. And they go in it with you. Look, how passionate am I about what I'm talking about here? Okay, does my passion for this and this being my poetry make you guys buy in more?
Yes.
Okay, so could you sense if somebody was up here that doesn't live it and doesn't love it, but was trying to do a seminar like this, could you sense it?
Yes.
That's the same thing with girls. So any form of self-qualification of you doing something that you didn't want to do and then trying to brag about that to her is the antithesis of what's attractive. Okay? That's the antithesis of it. That's the opposite of attractive. Here's where it gets interesting. Do you guys think that my dating life got better or worse? Okay, so I had a really bad ski accident, okay? So I gained about 50 pounds from a ski accident. And I'm kind of fat right now. Do you guys think that my dating life got better or worse with me being fat?
Better.
Neither. It got a little bit better because every year my results have been a little bit better. It got better at the same consistency as how much my results went up every year. No big change. Now let me ask you a question. For me, having some weight on, that got added on when I was in a wheelchair for close to a year. Do I feel embarrassed that I have a pot belly, or am I thanking God that I'm able to walk when the doctor told me I might never walk? How do you think I feel?
Great.
So when I'm able to walk and I just gained a bit of weight that I know I can get rid of later, do you think that that fucks up my confidence when I'm talking to a girl? No. I was talking to a girl for close to a year. How? From a wheelchair. I'm able to walk. But for a guy who's into fitness, if he had a pot belly, what would that do to his results? But that's because he loves it. That's because that's his thing. What if I woke up and my public speaking skills were gone? Would that affect my confidence? Yes. Of course it would. But if you can't public speak like me, should that affect your confidence?
No.
No. Okay? So non-self-qualification, like I said, in layers. Layer 1, baby wet carrot. Technique, you learn it in 2 seconds. Layer 2 would be not doing things that you don't want to do, including explain yourself. But layer 3 of that is soul searching. Say soul searching.
Soul searching.
So you've got to go inside yourself. You've got to soul search. It's really soul searching and figuring out who you are. So not self-qualifying is not just like, baby wet carrot, I don't self-qualify. Not soul searching is not like, I realize I don't need to be Arnold Schwarzenegger to talk to a woman. That's the next layer. Past that, it's getting aligned to your fucking soul. Figuring out who you are. And say the word, leaning into my weirdness.
Leaning into my weirdness.
Now, going past that, here's the next layer. And this is what is so hard. It comes down to real swag, okay? At the highest elite level, galaxy swagger, okay? Galaxy fucking swagger. That there comes from a life exploration of what feeds your soul and what pumps your emotions and what feels good to you, and just going and talking to someone who you want to attract and being that in front of them, which usually means logical talk is out the window. Logical talk is out the window. You're really just being you. Not the fucktard you with the crusty keyboard, the Cheetos dust semen covered keyboard, who's lazy. So try to understand, when we say be yourself, here's what it means, okay? When we say be yourself, what happens is you align to who you really are and you get flooded with energy. You get flooded with energy. You tap into the fucking Tao, like from the Tao Te Ching. So if someone says to me, well, I'm being myself and I'm lazy, you're lying. If you were being yourself, you'd have too much energy. You guys notice that my energy tends to go up every year? Go look at my older videos, look at my newer videos. My energy is through the roof. I look like I'm on coke. Okay? That energy comes from more alignment that happens with time. And as you align a little bit more every year, you get more and more aligned to what you're really here to do, why you're here, why you're doing it, who you are, what your weirdness is, leading into your weirdness, and that's where energy gets generated. You're generating, you're tapping into energy from beyond yourself. So your body's wearing down, but your soul is growing. It's part of aging. Your soul grows as your body collapses. So the highest levels of swagger are where you're so tapped into like what jokes you like, what stories you like, what you like to talk about. And you're able to kind of like display that. And the girl can just enter into your world and feel what that is and just like go in this tunnel with you. And it really makes every other guy look like such a punk bitch. Every other guy looks like he's trying too hard. And the women really deeply resonate with that degree of authenticity. They really do. It's like do you guys see here, like here in this room, imagine another teacher comes in and is trying a little too hard. How would that make you feel immediately?
Off-put.
Get him out of here.
That's how the girls feel. They can feel it, okay? They feel it. They can feel the quality, the energy from the guy. So now what's happening is you've gotten true to yourself, and then what you've done is you're able to show what's funny to you, what jokes are funny to you, what entertains you, but that means it is incumbent upon you to find your happiness without a woman. Paradoxically, it's when you're happier without a woman than with one that when you can pretty much crush it with women.
Amen.
Okay? Now this is where it gets weird. So somebody in a lower vibration, when they hear that, they're going to say, so you're telling me I'm going to spend years of my life learning to be more attractive only to get to a place where I no longer even gain much energy from having a woman around, and I'm doing this for women? Like, why am I going to go on a 5-year, 10-year journey to get to a place where I don't even care? And that's a win? Now, look, where I'm coming from today, okay, at age 46, if I have sex, I can feel the good feeling of a woman on my body. I can feel that, and that's a positive feeling. But the truth is that while that feeling is fun, you know, like if you're eating really clean food and then you smash like a greasy pizza, it tastes pretty good going down, but but you hit a point where you don't even want the greasy pizza anymore because it just doesn't mix with your system well. When you're at the highest level, you don't even like the idea of having sex with most women because even though it would kind of taste good going down, you know that it would energetically drain you. But from that space, women flock to you like a moth to a flame because they can tell that you are at a higher fidelity of spiritual, emotional energy than them, and they chase validation so hardcore. They chase it. And what this means is when you meet a girl that you really like, who has great energy, you are in a position to meet her, which means that you can meet quality. So you have the option for high quality. Okay? I can see it's resonating with. I can see your brain's going, okay?
The other weekend, I was just at a show, like vibing, dancing, like all on my own solo. And this super hot girl, she's actually a news anchor in Raleigh, 4-time Emmy winner, just comes up to me, taps me on the shoulder, says, "I love your energy," and has her phone out with her Instagram and has me at her Instagram.
Yeah, they're energetic beings. They really feel it. And then guys try to put it through how they see women. Because guys are like, well, I want a hot girl, so I have to be a hot guy. Plus, they want money because they just don't understand attraction. So they don't get the energetic components to any of this. And they also don't understand the non-self-qualification, okay? They're not seeing it. And not to mention that if you self-qualify, you're coming across like the provider, not the lover. So not to be crass, but if you understand evolution, where we come from, women have what's called a dual mating strategy. So I'm not saying this is good, and I'm not saying a man's strategy is good. I'm not trying to condone either. I'm just saying what evolutionary psychologists and historians and whatnot have studied. The basic gist of it is this. A man's optimal strategy in evolution, again, doesn't mean you have to do this now, would be to get as many women pregnant as possible to spread his seed. That was a man's top evolutionary strategy. Because you could come really quick, right? Now, if you're with the same woman, maybe you can only come once a day, maybe twice a day, 3 times a day, maybe once every 2 days. But be honest, you ever heard of the Coolidge effect? Calvin Coolidge, the wife of President Coolidge, was visiting a farm, and they told her, oh, the chicken, the rooster has sex with the chicken over and over and over. And she says, oh, tell that to Mr. Coolidge. So then when President Calvin Coolidge comes through, they said, hey, your wife said to tell you that the rooster has sex with his chicken over and over and over. He goes, the same chicken? And they said, no, all different chickens. He says, you tell that to Mrs. Coolidge. So that's the Coolidge effect, right? Which is basically that a man can get aroused again and again and again and again if it's different because his body is telling him, use those resources because those girls aren't pregnant yet. I'm not saying this is good. I'm not condoning this. I'm just saying biologically. And this is kind of a rough go at biology, okay? There's probably, if we were scientists, we could get like all the studies and be more precise. That's just a general understanding. So, like a functional understanding. So then, for a woman, her getting cock blasted by 300 men is probably not her best evolutionary strategy. So what would women do as a little bit of like a duplicitous move in the way that a man might just try to impregnate everybody? What would a woman's version of that be if she could only have one kid at a time? Well, the ideal would be you go for the very top guy and he wipes you. But what's the problem with getting the sperm from the very top guy?
He's giving it to all the other.
Every other girl also wants the sperm too. Any of you guys here ever crush it with girls so hard that you run out of sperm? You ever have it when you're fifth one of the day and you're like, I have nothing left? How much can you service in a day? For most guys, max is 4 or 5. It gets exhausting. So if that guy who's servicing 4 or 5 women has nothing left, believe it or not, it's like he's in pretty high demand. There could be 100 women in the tribe, he's only able to service 5 of them. So if that girl can't become his wife, if she can't become his wife, so to speak, what's her next best option? To be in his harem. But what if she can't even get in his harem? What's her next best option? Attach monogamously to a lower level guy. Or to be in the harem of a lower level guy.
Or take out the other women.
I guess that could be that too. That's if it got real nasty. Probably happens. But the point is, what would be a way to get the seed of the best guy but to have someone there to provide for that kid. You have your husband who's a chump, and then maybe here or there you just wander off, maybe for 5 minutes behind a tree, you get the seed of the top guy quickly, and then you come back like nothing happened. If you understand how to generate attraction, you will see that response happening all throughout the day. You'll see it all day. You will see it all day. You'll see what it is, it's a different part of the brain that gets activated that is not talking to or communicating with the rest of the brain. So after it happens, there's very little recollection of it, and it gets rationalized. This is really harsh stuff, guys. Okay? So let me say this again. The part of the brain that goes on the little adventure behind the tree is an evolutionarily generated part of the brain that is not talking to the rest of the brain. Goes behind the tree, something happens, ideally very fast, because let's say that guy had to like take her for dinner, a caveman dinner, right? Wine and dine. Well, then the other guy would see all that happening. So it has to happen very quickly, okay? So it happens very, 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 very quickly. Here's the thing. I love romance. I love love. And don't laugh, I love being a provider. Okay, this is kind of fucked up. My main hobby is buying women shit. I like buying stuff for women. Don't laugh. Look, I'm 46. I was born in 1979. Growing up in the 80s, you know what your dream was? It wasn't to have a harem. It wasn't to have swagger. When you're a young man growing up in the 80s or 90s, what's your dream? It's to find a great fucking girl and to be a provider. And how would it make you feel being a provider if you grew up under that system? Masculine. It's a masculine feeling for me to take her to the mall, just give her the credit card and say, go nuts, baby. It's a masculine feeling for me, to go get some beautiful jewelry. Look, I design jewelry as a hobby. I actually love it, okay? Like, I design this shit, okay? So I like to design jewelry for a woman and get her a piece that blows her mind. I can get great deals on it because I have access to all the stones and the gold and all that stuff because of my friend Matt. So I like to design jewelry. I like to give a girl jewelry. That's a hobby for me. When you guys hear me saying don't give a girl jewelry, I'm sad. I'm like a crack addict. It's like, don't smoke the crack, don't smoke the crack. Like, I like crack, but I'm like, don't smoke the crack. So many clickbait opportunities in this speech, right? I'm like, I like crack. My mom's pussy, right? But anyway, I'll clickbait. Cut me out of context. So the point being, okay, everything I say is in jest for the one idiot that would clickbait. This is a joke, okay? I tell jokes. It's a half comedy talk. So anyway, the point, they take me like everything's serious. So the point being is, I love providing for women. I like romance. Like, you give me a choice between having a 10-girl harem or having one girl who I really connect with, and we go to Catalina Island together, and you're on the boat with the girl who you're all over her, she's all over you, you're making out, you're in love, I don't need 10 women. You know what I'm saying? I don't need like a team of like estrogen, like an estrogen team of like girls bickering with each other and being demanding and like annoying me, okay? Like, one woman's enough. I am completely happy with one woman. Like, I enjoy sex with one woman more than with two women. Two women is like, it's like bowling balls that you're trying to shape your head in, and you're like hitting the heads and like, like, am I doing this? What I got going on? Like, my favorite sexual position? Missionary, okay? I know, I'm lame. I like missionary sex and romance, okay? You wanna know my fetish? Some girls like, do you have a fetish? Like, what's your fetish? I'm like, wanna know? I'm like, here's my fetish. I'm like, we meet up, we go do a little shopping, hold hands, crack some jokes, get a little Italian dinner, come back, have missionary sex for like 11 minutes, and pass out. Okay, that's a kink for me. Okay? Basically, my kink is the 1950s. Okay? Like, I just want to live in the 50s. That's why I made this whole company. Okay? I'm just angry it's not the 50s. I'm just, So I'm just like, how do we deal with this? How can we get it to where we can just get the deal we had in the 50s? Game, harem, so like just to get back to where we were that any regular guy could have had. But you can't even get that anymore. So you have to learn this stuff. Here's why. The 1950s had guardrails in place that the hypergamy wasn't out of control. I'm not trying to bring us back to the 50s, by the way. But what I'm saying, I'm actually a little bit progressive in some ways. I actually like to move forward, but I like to understand the lessons of the past. Doesn't mean we gotta live in the past, but we should still know why that existed, okay? We don't need to go back to the 50s like, okay, but we at least should understand why they did what they did. So back in the 50s, you had the church and you had social conditioning. And that would have told a woman that if a man gets the door for you, that's alpha. If the man opened the car door, that's alpha. If the man was consistent, that's alpha. If the man paid for dinner, that's alpha. If the man says he's in love with you, that's alpha. If the man's monogamous, that's alpha. That's what they were told by the church, and you had Jesus basically being put in their face, being like, be good to your man. So the ultimate alpha was saying to them, be a good wife. Was the way it was presented to them. And then society as well. Now, if you were to look at a girl's Instagram story in the 1950s, what would you have seen in it where she'd flex on them hoes? How would a girl flex on them hoes in the 1950s? Making pies. What's that?
Volunteering at church.
Yeah, volunteering at church, right? How'd she flex on them hoes?
Laundry,
Fold the laundry, right? Sewing, okay?
clean ass.
How does a girl flex on them hoes now? Bali, Dubai, openly showing she's behind the DJ booth. What does that mean when she proudly shows she's behind the DJ booth? By the way, who's she even trying to impress when she shows the clip of her behind the DJ booth at like Coachella or in Bali or wherever? Who's she even trying to impress at this point? Her girlfriends. She doesn't even care about you at all. She doesn't care that some chump mediocre guy's like, hey, wait a minute. Did that mean what I think it means? She doesn't care. She wants to flex on them hoes. Okay? Even when she gets married, the wedding might be flexing on them hoes. So, right? Like you're like taking it all seriously. She's just like, Instagram, oh my God. Like, and then like a month later, she's just gets divorced or something. So, okay, so basically what you have is like, some deep shit I just said, pay attention. So, trust me, that's not a joke. So, I'm just joking. Anyway, okay. Am I joking? Am I not joking? You leave it open interpretation. So, basically what you had was, that was value back then. That's how you got value. That's not how you get value now. Do you know what a marriage is called now? It's called a trad wife. What you think is going to happen for you, like, I'm going to get married someday, that's a weird niche. Like, what you think is normal on TikTok is called the trad wife niche. And a girl will be like, I'm become a trad wife. That's fucking crazy. For the average girl to become a trad wife would be like, look, what would it take for me to say, I'm going to run your life, you're not going to have a bank account, you're not going to have shit, but I'll take care of you, and you're going to do my laundry. Like, how weird would that be for you?
You better do it well.
I better do it very well, right? But would it be kind of weird? It's equally weird now for a girl to do that. It's weird. It is weird. But guys don't get this. Like most guys think they're still going to get married to someone. They'll probably get married to someone. You're not. Most of you in this room are never getting married. Most of you in this room, your bloodline dies with you. You'll never have kids, most of you in this room. You don't even understand this. Statistically, most of you will not be having kids. Society changed. Population's not increasing, it's dropping. Most of you will not have kids. So, understand, the way, if you want to just get back the basic stuff that you would have decades ago, you have to understand something. The old patriarchy, which had a lot of very bad things about it, that I don't condone, a lot of bad things about it. But one thing that it did also have was it kind of helped to deal with that whole other part of the brain thing, the hypergamy thing. It helped to deal with that and keep it like, no. That guy that got you the door, alpha. So it kind of like directed that part of the brain on a guy who had a good factory job and got the door and paid for dinner and was loyal. So hypergamy could get activated if the guy was just consistent and loyal. Does that make sense? Now, if you self-qualify, it frames you as the quote-unquote provider male, not the lover. And the guys that do well now are in the lover category. This is why many of your most beautiful female friends will go childless. Because they will hook up with those guys, but those guys are not willing to build a family with them, so when they get pregnant, they'll get an abortion or they'll use contraceptives. A couple of them will keep the kid here or there, and the guy's like, oh, damn. But that's mostly what you're going to see. So that's what's happening. So understand that when you're thinking that you're going to build muscle and get rich to meet your wife or to get laid or whatever, that is you trying to be the king of the betas. Say the word king of the betas. King of the betas. They view that as like you're an Oompa Loompa. That guy who watches some podcast and he has a regular job and then he goes to 24-hour fitness and he buys some creatine from GNC and he thinks that he's making progress and like maybe he makes 80 grand a year and then he works really hard and gets to 120 grand a year. That's not generating attraction at all. It's doing literally nothing at all. Nothing at all. Now, theoretically, I guess if you became a world famous Jack billionaire, then okay, fine, because then you'd be a celebrity and then you'd have hypergamy. But notice that a lot of the teachers that teach this are celebrities themselves. You guys see that? They become a celebrity. They don't really understand attraction. They go, oh, now I get girls. What did I do? Well, I got jacked and I became famous. That's what you should do. But the average guy is not going to become famous. So you're not being taught the right way. But if we go out tonight, there's regular guys out there that are crushing it. There's absolutely regular guys out there that are crushing it. If it is your poetry to become a billionaire, absolutely do it. As long as it's not self-qualifying, because it will be an empty victory. If it is your poetry to get an Arnold Schwarzenegger type body, do it. Look, I have friends that have done it. My friend Brandon Carter, can you tell like he loves that shit? Do you guys know my friend Brandon? Big Brandon Carter, he goes BBC. Calls himself BBC, big black guy, calls himself BBC, right? He's just one of the funniest guys ever. So, do you guys know my friend Grego Gallagher, Kino Body? Yes. He loves that. He loves it. So, if that's your thing, like you love it, then do it. Because the energy behind it will be attractive. But you've got to figure out who you are. And you've got to stop self-qualifying. And you've got to learn to get into a flow. When you do, you will then go from provider part of the brain that you're activating her to the lover part of the brain that you're activating in her. Yep.
What do you feel is the biggest thing that keeps men from mentally getting to that place and like doing the thing that actually is their poetry and being authentic with themselves?
Here's what it is. First of all, guys like me that would teach it got persecuted. So then it was being taught. It was actually widely known a decade ago. And then all that got taken down because I could show it. I could. What I'm saying is very abstract and a little bit harder to understand. You know what's not abstract and easy to understand? Money, looks, jacked. But none of them have the burden of proof that they have to put up footage of them interacting with a woman. Who's known me for a decade? Did I put up proof?
Yes.
When I teach a course, I'm like, let's go out. So when the burden of proof was there, you couldn't get away with this bullshit. But now, without the burden of proof, they can say anything. So they could just say something simple, then I'm like this like quirky guy, like, okay, so it's like the energy and the poetry. And people are like, what the fuck is this guy? And then the other dude's like, yo, just good jack. They go, yeah. But the results are different. Because most of those podcast hosts or social media influencers that you see have, whenever you see them out, you'll never see a video of them out chatting anybody. It'll just be a video of them out like at a table at a club dancing with their guy friends. You'll never actually see them engaging, ever. It's crazy because they can't. Meanwhile, you see me go out, I'm like, I'm crushing it. So what I'm showing you is the truth, but I'm showing you the layers of non-self-qualification. And then what happens is as you get into that vibe, you release something called neurotic holding patterns. Again, weird, like, look at this. Good jacked versus like, release the neurotic holding patterns. Who's gonna sound like they're right? So what are neurotic holding patterns? Neurotic holding patterns occur when you've been in a mode of self-qualification for years, if not decades. Making yourself do things that you don't wanna do to try to get approval. It winds up shutting you down and making you tense. When you let go of those neurotic holding patterns, you're loose and you're fun and you're flowing. That causes you to trigger the lover part of the brain, not the provider part. What most of these guys are showing you is how to optimize to be at the top of the provider part of the brain. The lover part of the brain causes attraction and desire to happen extremely quickly, insane quickly, like beyond your imagination level quickly, crazy fast. But what happens is that the provider part causes this long, drawn out, rational decision that takes months. And that's where courtship comes in. And that was fine. I think courtship is fucking beautiful. But this is not the 1950s where you're courting someone and it's just you and them and you know you had another date where you courted and you're talking about marriage. That doesn't exist. Some guy who's hitting the other part of the brain will be messing around and going all crazy that night. You're literally meeting, guys, the average girl that I'm seeing is being courted. I can pull text messages up like, this guy's taking me out, this guy's doing this, this guy's doing that. The average girl that I see is being courted and talking to me about it. Probably 80-90% of them.
While they're on the date, too.
That guy will take them on a nice meal, somewhere extremely expensive. She goes "Mwah," on the cheek and then brings me back the leftovers. You know how a lot of girls are like, every man cheats. You ever heard that? Every guy cheats. What percentage of men can cheat? 98% of men cannot see someone and walk up and cold approach. So if less than 2% of men can cheat, but every man cheats, what does that mean their perception is of the other 98% of men? They're invisible. They're literally invisible. They don't even exist. That's why when they're like, oh, these guys cheat, they're telling the truth. They're not lying. Because the chump guys are not even men. It's like an Oompa Loompa. It's like when you walk down the street, there's probably ants in the sidewalk. You're not like, oh, there's this ant's name's Fred and this ant's name's John. It's just like these little creatures running around. That's how they see it. Look, to be fair, you may feel that way when you go to a 7-Eleven and you see like a 7-Eleven worker who just like can barely speak English and you're like, I don't know, like they clearly have their existence and I respect it, but like I'm not engaging with it. That's how they feel towards like provider men. It's not in their sphere of what they're looking for. So that's why this advice that guys get is so bad. They're trying to get you to optimize within the paradigm of being the provider. Everything has to be triggering that part of the brain that triggers the lover part of the brain. Any self-qualification and trying to compensate means that you have bad sperm. Your sperm was not enough. How would you act if you were being chased for your sperm 24 hours a day? Would you be like, I gotta self-qualify?
Do whatever the fuck you want.
You just be having fun, laughing, engaging in your poetry. Get back to that. Look, I worked on this for decades, not just on myself, but on other people too, right? So if you guys want to understand what a talk like this is, okay? This is like a legacy capstone piece, right? This is a legacy capstone piece. I've explained this topic at a newbie level as far back as 2002. Okay, we're in 2026. A quarter century ago, I was giving basic, very easy to understand lessons on this. By the way, when I run trainings, that's how I teach. I don't teach in abstractions when I run a training. If somebody's paying me, I'm just really clear. But part of why I do free events is so that we can touch on harder to grasp, more abstract topics, right? Which pisses off some newbies that are like, I just want this, I just want the trick. And I'm like, then look at my shit from fucking 25 years ago. I'm not just gonna keep replaying the same boring, it's not boring, but it's like, to me it's boring, to them it's life-changing, but I'm not gonna keep replaying the same thing. Jay-Z had a quote where he said, he's like, you like my old shit, buy my old album, right? Like, you like my old rap, buy my old album. Like, if you like my old stuff, just go watch my old stuff. I'm not stopping you. I don't need to keep replaying the same thing. I have my own evolution. So this is me trying to tackle something that nobody but me can probably explain at a high level. Nobody in the world but me can probably explain this, which is weird. I think other people should be able to, but for some reason I've just been given this quest to explain this, okay? So I want you to imagine you're out, okay? And you're flowing, and you're just fucking being you, and you're just funny as fuck, and your energy is just fucking flowing, and you just see someone you want to talk to, and you just do it. Because you have no anxiety about it. You just do it. You're not compensating. It's like, you ever heard the expression, the cup runneth over? It's from the Bible, the cup runneth over. It's like the energy is just so good that you just want to go talk. You're just like, I just want to go talk. Kind of how I feel with you guys. Can you guys feel that the cup runneth over? Yeah. Right, like the energy's there. I'm just like, I just want to do it. Like, I don't even know why. I don't even know why I want to do it. I don't even know why. What's happening? I don't know. Can someone tell me? I don't know. Actually, I do know. But anyway, it's like, I'm just doing it, right? And it's like, so you're out, and your energy is just moving like really well, and you just want to do it. And you just walk up, and you have nothing in your head, and you just start spitting. It's like you're just like spitting. It's like me up here right now. I don't even know what I'm saying. It's just coming out, right? And you're just saying all this stuff, and it's fucking mad funny. It's just fucking funny, right? And it makes you feel good. Like the stuff that you're saying puts you almost like you're drunk or high. I don't drink or get high, but it's like you're drunk or high. And like the shit that you're just saying is so fucking awesome. And it's just really you, and it's high fidelity, and it's coming out, and it's fucking funny. It's like, because humor is a big part of this, right? And there's like a banter to it, and then she kind of starts shit testing you, and then you start bantering with her, and you have like this little like banter battle kind of thing, and then you kind of talk about stuff you think is cool, then you banter, and you have like another little banter battle, you have like a little frame battle, and the vibe is just so fucking good. And what happens is that even if you're not the best looking guy, even if you're not the most rich, you're the best guy. That's the best guy. That's the realest motherfucker. Okay? That's the head ninja in charge. That's the top guy. When they talk about hypergamy, like they want the top guy, that's the top guy. Not some bitch loser who is insecure that accumulated a bunch of money because he's insecure. They view those guys as disgusting. Losers. Not cool. You know who was in tune to his poetry? Mari Supreme. You know his poetry was? Ping pong. Right? So then she's got her like creepy husband who like in her mind manipulated her with his money. In reality, he just offered her a good life, but she took it and she's bitter that she did. Do you know what you're doing to yourself when you make a bunch of money and then you get a girl to take it? You think that when you're super rich, that your wife is like, oh, I appreciate every day that he makes all this money. No, she's like, I don't think I was in love with him, and it was just too easy, and I did it, but really I want to have sex with Tommy. He's so real. He makes me feel so good. I feel something. I feel a spark. And it's so resonant to them that they have to do it. They have to do it. They have to cheat. They have to do it. So by trying to just use money, bad idea. Okay, bad idea. There's a girl that I used to have sex with who her husband was a super hardcore bodybuilder, and this was actually after my accident, so I was like the same shape I'm in now, which is pretty bad. And literally, she hated that he's a bodybuilder. I could maybe call her. Look at what a dickhead I am too. She when did she last hit me up? Like, yo, this should tell you, like, how much optionality I have. Like, I haven't even answered a text from like a month ago, dude. Like, I don't even fucking give a shit. Yeah. Like, I don't even remember. But anyway, okay. So, we'll see if we get it. Otherwise, I'll just tell you guys a story. Well, anyway, she's probably with her boyfriend right now. But anyway, so caught that one. But anyway, so caught that one. So anyway, so she would complain about her ex. I don't do this shit on purpose. I find out later. So she would complain about her ex, who was super, super into bodybuilding. And she's like, it's like, he can't just have fun with me. He's always like trying to get his fucking like macros down, and he's obsessed with his fucking this and that. It's fucking annoying. He's insecure. That's how she saw it. But look, there's girls out there that are really into fitness, right? They're really into fitness, and their man's into fitness, and they're passionate about it. You know what, Shelby Saab? You guys know Shelby? Yeah. Her man is Alex. I think it's Alex Eubanks, I believe his last name. He's a total stud, right? He loves, you can tell he actually loves fitness. He has a physique that reflects a man that loves fitness, and he's not even remotely self-qualifying. He's actually a very spiritual, Christian guy, and Shelby's into fitness as well. They work out together. That's beautiful. Shelby, because she's into fitness, would probably rather be with a guy like that. But it's real. But he's not some steroid freak who's insecure. That's the difference. So in effect, what happens is you're talking and basically you're in your flow and you're not self-qualifying at all. And then the banter starts. Banter is the big part. Now, banter is basically a shit test. It's a frame test. That's what you want. You want banter, okay? You want banter. Banter is basically where you start an argument. Pick a joking fight. A joking fight. That dress, a little too blue. And the way you walk, it's like you're stomping. You're stomping. Why do you keep stomping? Okay? So you pick a hilarious, obviously joke argument. Obviously a joke. That initiates the banter. Okay? Now, when you initiate the banter, she will be observing how you handle the pressure she's putting on you. Okay? She will observe that. When you're in your flow and you're fucking real as hell, what happens is you fly through those tests like it's nothing. Like a knife with warm butter. Just,
Is that something you
okay, hot knife with warm butter.
at the beginning of an interaction or later?
I often do it right at the start, yeah. I'm like crazy on banter. You'll see me out, it's like a 5-hour argument with like everyone in the whole club. It's like banter, 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 like crazy. Okay? Banter, 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 banter. So banter is massive, okay? Like it basically generates, say the word tension. Tension. Yeah, the tension's huge. When you stop on the banter, watch how quickly the whole thing unravels. It unravels real quick, okay? So you want to have really good banter, okay?
Would you say it's the same thing as playing with it?
Yeah, but it's like a fake argument. They want to know that you're strong. They don't care about anything but that you're strong. That's why the self-qualification thing implies an inherent weakness. That it's like, well, I thought if I bought my supplements and I thought that if I had more money, that people like me. It's like you're weak. You're not weak. You're not weak. The guts of the man are not there. There's a weakness in the man. They can really feel it. So that's why, like, you guys remember the old Neil Strauss book? That book kind of implied, like, you could just, like, learn these, like, magical words, and then, boom, all the results came. In reality, yes, some results can come from learning some magical words, but it's an actual journey that happens. It's a real journey of actual transformation that this motivates you to do, and inner shifts that, like, really, really, really get dialed in a major way. Major way. A big one, too, you've got to know why you're that fucking dude. You've got to have a 1-month conversation with yourself about why you're that guy. Most guys have never done that. Most guys have never sat with themselves and figured out why you are their best option. But you have to do that. Like if you said to me, Owen, give me a self-qualifying rant for the next 5 days about why you're that dude, I could probably do it. Now, in an interaction, we just do banter. So the self-qualification should happen inside your own mind. Now, you know what's kind of funny about that? There's layers to it. This is where it gets really crazy. That's at the level of mind, and then there's level beyond the mind. Beyond the mind, you're just present. So it doesn't even matter. But the thing is that we sometimes lose connection to presence and we go back in the mind. And so the mind has to support us while we're in the mind, and then we go past the mind. So we go boom, 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 like that. So when we're in the mind, we logically know why you're the man, and then we go past the mind.
But what would be an example of non-superficial ways of I'm that guy?
Well, I can tell you this. This is pretty fucked up what I'm going to tell you. I think energy is, I'm going to give you my example, okay? You'd have to have your own. I can tangibly see in the pupils of people who I'm dating that my energy is inside them, and I got great energy. So that alone is the greatest gift they could ever have. There's girls that I date, if you ask them, they're like, it's just his energy, I'm addicted. Okay? So I've worked on that. That's something that you can actively work on. Another one is I feel free around him. I feel happy around him. I feel good. I'm very, very good at helping them with emotional regulation. I'm 10 out of 10 at that. Emotional regulation. Okay? So they're gonna feel, around me, they're gonna feel happier than they've ever felt. It's like they're in this paradise. It's like they're in paradise, like they're in actual paradise. So that's what I'm looking for. Okay? They'll feel like they're in paradise. They'll feel so happy. They feel perfect. They feel containment. They feel male energy containment. Every room that we walk into, I'm that fucking dude. So always, all the time, I'm that guy, which I just learned through communication. They also see other women that are chasing and attracted. So their hypergamy is getting hit. The humor is really good. They're laughing. Usually as they get to know me, they admire my intellect. But that's me. But the truth is, you could have a guy who just likes to surf and has a more physical intelligence who'd go, fuck all that shit. You know what I like to do? Surf. And the girl that's with him lives in a tent on a beach and is addicted like crack cocaine because he likes to surf. And you know what else he likes to do? He likes to drink. I don't drink. Do a lot of girls like to drink? Yeah. So what if she likes to drink with him? What if she likes to smoke a J and get drunk with a campfire in front of the beach and surf all day? That's pretty great too.
So would you say it's the confidence in the way you live your life would elevate the woman emotionally, and that's what you're confident in?
Yeah, but it's but there's levels to it, right? Because you have your own inner transformation, which is that you feel great inside yourself, even if your life sucks. But then there's your actual life that's also cool, and that you like, and that your enthusiasm adds color to. So for example, like, say that I go get one of those little tour guides in Washington, D.C., and they put me in the back of a bike. You know those bike tours where they put you like in a little cabin thing, like in like a little wagon in the back, right? And say that tour guide is super pumped about D.C. What happens to your enthusiasm for D.C.?
Goes up.
Yeah, so what are you really paying for? Like, 'cause you could have got a ChatGPT tour. So why are you paying a human to take you around DC when you could have just got a ChatGPT tour? That would have been pretty good, by the way. Might even be more accurate.
For the vibes.
Vibes. So vibes is huge, right? Like, for example, look, you know damn well that if you were to sign up with me and come train with me for like a year, would I hold your interest in this topic, or would you like lose interest?
Hold interest.
I would make you so obsessed with this topic that you would become a 10 out of 10 at it. You'd be so damn good in these areas. But see, my capacity to be a teacher is not just that I know the best stuff. It's not just that I get the best results. It's not just that I know how to teach you how to transform. It's my engagement with the content itself and my absolute authenticity and congruence of real passion for this, and it being my poetry, so to speak. That is what's going to suck you into it. So as a man, your energy with a woman is things like masculine containment, masculine polarity, emotional regulation, and vibes, and your energy being within her, and the way you live your life. And the fact that she's with you, she gets to enter into this like reality tunnel where she gets brought on a ride. And that's why guys like a Steve Aoki, who's a DJ, are so damn good, because he just wants to just party and play music and dance, and it's like very immersive. They're like, oh, Steve Aoki, oh, and they can just go in, and now he's the alpha. But you could be the alpha in your version of that. Okay? So these are layers. Look, I don't plan necessarily to do a lot of talks about attraction. So part of my goal with doing the free tour that I've been doing is to hit videos that are ultra abstract and videos that I probably wouldn't charge someone money to teach them this, right? When I do a training, it's more about you. But I want to make a video series and just kind of like challenge myself to go into like some of the harder to understand nuances of attraction, hoping that somebody will pick up the work after I'm dead, right? Like I'm not really trying to like build my career as a coach of attraction necessarily. Who knows? Maybe I will and we'll laugh at this. You never know what can happen, right? But I have other plans that are pretty huge. Anyway, look, the point being is that I'm trying to just get like a little capstone of my career here. So I'm trying to get you guys to understand the abstractions that are happening here and what it means to be truly incredible at attraction. Like a master at attraction. Like someone who is just metaphorically dangerously sharp with attraction. Like just one of those people where it's like I bring my girlfriend in here, and even for me, she sees you, she's gonna be in a trance, she's gonna go in a trance state, you're gonna see that part of her brain activating, and you can see it's like moving towards sex, just boom, like without you even doing anything. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about here. Like the highest levels of understanding attraction, like the most elite, highest levels, okay? And I use these lessons in my public speaking too, by the way, guys. So, if you're doing Instagram Reels or social media in whatever capacity, or, in the future, 3D, talk things or virtual reality, whatever the case. Because I think the world's about to get pretty technologically advanced pretty soon. The point being is like, having this humanity to you and understanding your humanity and what it is very, very, very potent, okay? And what real strength is. And not what real strength is to a man who's overcompensating, or what real strength is to a man who is living by a 1950s code, who still thinks he's in the patriarchy, where if he's just a good provider, the girl's gonna come and marry him. But understanding, and I'm not saying that a matriarchy or a patriarchy is, either one is better than the other. I think there's problems with both. I think there's benefits in both. But I'll tell you that under a matriarchy, which is what we are under, and they'll deny it all they want, but let me show you something about that, right? If I say to you, you have blue hair, do you get mad? If I tell you have blue hair, do you get mad?
No.
Why not?
I don't.
Because you don't have blue hair, right?
Yep.
So if you say we're under a matriarchy, people get mad. Why do you think they get mad? Because we are. Right? It's obvious. Right? So the thing is, so that's why it pokes the hornet's nest. But what I'm getting at is, under the matriarchy, what women will often say is, this is the first generation of women who had a choice whether or not they want to be in a relationship, and most women are saying no. And they say, what does that say about men? And how has the patriarchy damaged men? Look, the truth is, patriarchy or matriarchy, there's pros and cons of both. Both have benefits, both have downsides. But I will give women this. Getting out of this heaviness of self-qualification is really what they're asking you to do. A lot of the modern coaches with attraction get this wrong. What they're saying is, women are demanding that you're a billionaire, and that you're jacked, and that you're famous. Have you guys heard people saying that? Yeah. But that's not, and women hear this, they go, that's not what I'm asking. Stop telling them that. The reason I'm not fucking those guys is not because of that. But I think women don't know how to articulate themselves. They don't know how to explain what it is that they want. What is it?
I said no kidding. Women don't know how.
Hey, we can struggle too. But yeah, I know your point. Yeah. But what I'm getting at is like, there's an energy that they want men to pick up on, which is like social intelligence, emotional intelligence. You know how women feel? They feel that men have spent generation after generation doing things that they don't even want to do, and making themselves miserable, and then they make the women miserable. Now, where women get it wrong, I think, they don't understand that, like, I don't think men were doing that for no reason. I don't think men wanted to make themselves miserable. I mean, we had to do that to build society. So now society's mostly built, and they're like, you're just making yourself miserable. It's like, well, we built this shit. Like, we built this containment that you could complain about my emotional state. You know what I mean, right? Like, it's a pretty luxurious thing to be like, I don't like your emotional state, right? Like, that's quite a luxury that was built. A lot of the physical labor that built that was men. So that's where I think they can be delusional and arrogant and inappreciative. But that being said, the world does move forward. What would you say if I told you that you have a choice? And it's an interesting choice. you could go back to the 1950s, just focus on having a good job at the factory, being a good provider. You'd have a wife and it'd be simple. There'd be less cheating too, a lot less. Still be some though. Or you could actually just start enjoying your life, and that like 80, 90% of women, as you walk down the street, will be crawling all over you. It's an interesting choice, right? Because there's pros and cons to both. But what I'm saying is it's not as bad as guys are making it out to be. There's pros and cons of both. Okay? There's pros and cons, including just like this like massive amounts of like sex outside relationships that may have pros and cons. But what I'm getting at is it's not as bad as they're making it out. Again, you're thinking, I've got to be the famous billionaire, this, that. No. What men do is we don't let ourselves even feel happy until we're like a billionaire. But then ironically, I've coached the billionaires and they're unhappy too. That's what women are trying to tell men. They're like, dude, stop being so weird. Just have fun with me and I'll fuck you. But the guys are logical, they're in their head, they're not confident, they're socially uncalibrated because they're so trapped deep in their head. They're so trapped deep in their head they can't socially calibrate. They're missing emotional cues. Now, women are born with more of those brain cells that pick up on that than men. But men can pick it up very quick. They actually can. But if I'm being honest with you, I went from being lightly autistic and having almost no activation of that in my brain at all to probably having, if I was guessing, about 5 times more awareness of that than women do in my brain now. That's kind of weird, right? But you go out and work on it for decades, that will happen. So what I can tell you, coming from the social and emotional awareness that women have, because I have that now, for the most part, not perfectly, I don't really want to be around a guy that lacks that either. Most of my friends, if I'm being honest with you, are guys from within this community who worked on this area. It's when you have this stuff down, it's kind of annoying to hang out with a derpy dude. It's kind of an energy drain. So I understand why women feel that way. So then I think what men need to do is, instead of being completely insecure all the time and then being like, I got to be a jack billionaire, and then never even really succeeding at it in 99% of cases anyway. So it's like, it'd be one thing if you said I'd be a jack billionaire and then you did it. I mean, there's going to be some upsides to that. There would be some benefits. But you don't even do it. So the jack billionaire thing, just another bat to hit yourself in the head with. You don't even do it. Instead of doing that, it'd be better if men would just get in touch with who they actually are and then learn a bit of banter. That's it.
But Owen, I still have an issue with, like, if you're stuck in your head, it can be very beneficial to be in your head for business.
Mm-hmm.
You'd be logical, and like you said, you'd work on your business for a month and then you can't talk to anyone.
I would predict I've made more money than everyone in this room combined. And if we add my next Atlanta event, I'd probably made more than all of them combined, and more than everyone in the Nashville event combined. LA, maybe. So I know how to make money. What you're saying is, you go in your head, you do some logical stuff, and then you come out of your head, and then you do some fun stuff. Ta-da! It can be done. Does take time. Takes time. You're not wrong. It's actually one of the hardest things to learn, but you can do it.
Because they're counter.
Yeah. If you guys think I'm good at this emotional stuff, you guys should see me with bank and cash. I know how to bank cash. So I'm elite at that too. There's more elite. Some of my clients are pretty elite. But the point is, like, if I want to show someone to start from scratch, like from scratch, no savings, and how to bank, I'm really, really dialed in with that. So, because I love that stuff. So you could absolutely do both, 100%.
Does banter serve as like a push and a push-pull?
Banter serves as their ability to see the guts of the man. They love it. They need it. Try going out and provoking a funny argument with a girl. Observe how most of them would do with you indefinitely. Literally indefinitely. They will literally have a playful argument with you in many cases, not all cases, in many cases, as many hours a day as you would do it. They are built for it. They love it. They love it. And if you show that you'll engage that part of her brain, you know what it kind of reminds me of? My son Tristan, I can talk to him. I can be like, hey, Tristan, tell me about your day. He's like, well, you know, I had math class. You know, I played in the playground, right? And he'll answer me, and he'll go through the motions out of his respect for me. But if I go, I'm a monster, I'm gonna chase you, you can see his circuitry, his natural child circuitry lights up, and the real Tristan comes out, who wants to play, who wants to run around, who wants to hide, who wants to chase me, who wants to imagine. That's like girls. Girls will talk to you about logical stuff, like out of respect for you, or maybe they even like having that side of themselves to an extent. So they'll be like, okay, yeah, here's my beliefs about the economy, and you know, they'll do that for a bit. But if you'll banter with them, it's like that, all the natural circuitry just fires up, and they are just like smiling, giggling, laughing, like just loving it. You know, they go crazy. They really, really, really like it. So banter is huge. It's a huge part of the attraction mechanism. And it's called tension. You're generating tension. And again, all these like looks money guys, like they just don't acknowledge banter. They don't acknowledge tension. They don't acknowledge emotion. They don't acknowledge social intelligence. They don't acknowledge emotional intelligence, social intelligence. Like they just don't talk about it in men's coaching anymore. I'm probably the only guy talking about it. That's so weird.
Thank you. So what
Yeah.
things could we practice?
But by the way, do you want to know why I'm probably the only guy talking about it? Here's the actual reason why, if you really want to know. The average situation with most coaches is they do a little bit of coaching, but they have a day job. Maybe they're making 50 grand a year, 80 grand a year, maybe even 100 grand a year out of their day job. They start a podcast. To be fair to them, do you know how scary it is to leave your job to be a podcast host? Do you know how scary that is? So once you have a degree of expertise, like you can at least talk somewhat on a subject, 90% of the audience is what? Newbies. So are they really gonna know? Is the average newbie gonna know if the advice is good or bad? Not to mention, does advice like this build a tight-knit niche, or does it build a huge broad audience? This is a niche. So I'm sabotaging my own growth by going niche. So I'm fortunate that I was able to balance my finance to have the time to go out 5, 6, 7 hours a day to work on this stuff every damn day. Like somebody who loves skiing, just blasting down the hills. But for the average coach who's like, you know, I gotta like, you know, quit my job and do this. It's very hard. Like I remember when it was like 2003, there was this coach, he had a blog, okay? This is before even social media. And he had like maybe like a $3,000 a month job. And he said to me, Owen, could you write some articles for my blog? I said, bro, his name was Matt. I go, Matt, you don't even go out. Like you used to go out. You were coming out with me regularly for about a half a year, but you've stopped going out. I'm not writing for your blog. You don't go out. You don't do this anymore. And he really hated me after that. He had a seething hatred towards me after that. He actually would roast me on his blog years later, for years. It was called the Thundercat blog or something. It was like this blog. And he was angry at me for years. I liked Matt, actually. I genuinely liked the guy. I really genuinely like him. But he was mad at me. But what I realized later, because I was in my early 20s at the time, was he was suffering. He had a job that he hated. He had a way out. But for him to get out, he would have to probably work 16 hours a day. He kind of understood attraction a little bit for the 6 months that he went out. And that was enough. And he's just trying to get out of his day job. That's most coaches. Do you guys, if you right now could get out of your, say that you came in and hung out with me for 6 months, you generally knew the gist of it, and you could get out of your day job and actually get to travel and make a little bit of money, but you wouldn't have time to kind of go out 5, 6, 7 nights a week, you wouldn't be tempted to do it? That's most coaches. They give up on the product development. What do you guys think other rich coaches say to me when I tell them I do a free tour? What do you think they say?
Crazy.
Well, the first thing they do is they go, what's the business model? That must be a great funnel. I go, no, I usually make enough money. Like usually what I'll do in a free tour is I'll make some super cheap offer and that covers the cost of the room and I lose money off it. And they go, Well, then why do you do it? You could be doing a Zoom call. But I can literally call my friends right now. Every friend I have calls me an idiot for doing the free tour and says I need to be at home doing Zoom calls. Every single one. Every single one. Okay? Every single coach friend that I have, and some of them I bring to the free events and they come speak, and they get bitter at me after. They're angry. They actually have buyer's remorse that they came and helped talk at the free event. They're like, I had a weekend off. I didn't make any money that weekend. Okay? Now you can laugh at them all you want, but when did you give up a weekend of work? And when did you go work for free for a weekend last? Right? So you can go, oh, they're bad. Okay, what about you? So you can't judge them, okay? But what I'm trying to show you is why the coaching industry is limited in how deep they go. They're limited in how deep they go. Am I an entrepreneur or an artist?
Artist.
I'm an artist first, entrepreneur second. Did I learn this as a way to make money, or did I learn how to make money as a way to get out my art?
Make money to get out of the art.
What do you think I use all the money for?
Your art.
Of course. Notice that I always brag about the revenues I did. I never brag about what I kept. I always gave all of it away. I live well, but I've always flipped it back in the business. No one's done more free events than me. Do you think those little trainings that I do, like infield trainings, think that's highly lucrative? Those are capped. You can't do a super big infield training. So why do I do this? Because I am physically sickened by the bad information. I was that new guy who sucked and who just wanted good information and read like Dating for Dummies. And I was looking for wisdom there. And then, or I read Art of Seduction, books like that. And I love Robert Greene. But what was in the book did not help me. Even though I love Robert Greene, by the way. Love Robert. But, he's not like, running around at the club exactly, right? So, right? But I love Robert. It's a great fucking book. I love all his books. But you know my point. So the point is, I was that guy that tried to go apply this. All that I want is that when I'm dead, there's a ledger of what I did. There's a ledger of what I understood. So that other people, I'm not looking for the masses that would just want some easy answer. I'm looking for someone who loves this stuff. Like somebody who they see this stuff and they're like, this is so cool. Like, this is so fucking cool that somebody went and did this and I want to do it, right? Because by the way, I'm like that with certain things. Like, do you guys just have any stuff that you're just really into? Maybe this stuff, but is there any other stuff that you guys just really like? I have other stuff that I really appreciate, that I really like. Can I give an example? I like national parks. I really like national parks. Charleston and Savannah? Those are very well historically curated. I view those like national parks. They are national parks. There's Charleston and Savannah, which you guys should go visit, are historically preserved. There's so much effort that went into preserving those. They're basically like a national park. Those aren't like cities in the way that a city is. Okay? There's really nothing else like that in America. Maybe somewhere, but that's all I can think of. So, the fact that someone took the time to preserve that and make it great, I want to go. That's why I came here. I want to go. The fact that somebody created the Pacific Coast Highway. Have you guys ever driven the Pacific Coast Highway? It's absolutely fucking awesome. Okay? If you do one thing before you die, go drive the PCH, the Pacific Coast Highway, all along the ocean to the West Coast, and then drive inland into Montana, and go to Glacier Park, go to Yellowstone, maybe drive back through Utah. The whole thing, guys, is jaw-dropping. Maybe drive through Colorado mountains. The fact that someone cared and came and built that, I feel an obligation and a real attraction to go and experience that. And you can really go see these things and see the effort and work that people put into these things. It's really unbelievable. I'm also really into nature in general. I view that as God's art. So I really care about nature a lot. So I spend a lot of time in nature. And I'm not kidding. I will walk around and I look at the trees. I look at them. I'm like, look at this thing, seeing how it's built, learning about it. I go find animals, and I check out the animals. I'm just curious. I'm a curious person. I like restaurants, okay? I like restaurants. And like, I like a restaurant where like a chef like really put the effort in, like the ambiance, the food, like someone just put in the effort. So I like great public speakers, and I like great teachers. And there's real work and effort and passion and care. I'm not in a cope. When you don't care about that stuff, to me, that's like a cope. You're like, look, I'm just in pain. I'm fucking horny. I need to calm. Right? I'm fucking broke. Maybe I could be like a coach or something, right? It's not engaging with life. Look, guys, there's certain things money can't buy. Does that make sense? Right? There's certain things money can't buy. Like, you could be rich and you get a hooker, and you could pay a girl to fuck you, but you can't pay a girl to love you. I mean, maybe. But maybe a girl's like, that's her kink. But you know my point, right? Like, it's like, you can't pay a girl to love you. You know what else you can't buy? Your children's respect. Right? You can't buy your children's respect. You can't buy that, okay? You know whose respect I care a lot about in my field? Other people who actually go out. Do you think I give two fucks about the opinion of people who don't live this life? I mean, look, I care about them as humans. I wish the best for them. But do you think I care about their judgment? But do you guys not think that I have a group of like 20 or 30 core guys that we talk about this stuff all day? We compare notes all day. We talk about this shit all fucking day. We love this stuff. Like, we're gluttonous for it. We really, really, really like it. But we don't like, it's not about sex. Sex is fun. Sex is always there. I've been able to get laid for decades, easy. But it's not about sex. It's about the art form. It's about the psychology. It's about the craft. Okay? The craft of it, that's where the real fun comes in. It's the same thing with public speaking, right? Like, it's the craft. It's like, can I come in and do an improvisational speech and create it from nothing? And can I saturate the room with my voice? Can I have cool analogies? Can I think outside the box, et cetera, et cetera? What kind of flow state could I get? How could I wake up the audience? So there's craft that's there. So what I'd encourage you guys to do is figure out what it is that you love. Do you see how what I'm talking about here correlates with this idea of non-self-qualification and really finding out what it is that you love, what is your poetry, what you love to do? That energy that I have for craft is an attractive energy. You guys see how that comes together? Find that thing that you fucking love that energizes you, not just chasing the money. Now, to be fair, I think everybody should have at least 5 or 10 million. So, you know, I like 10 million as like a good starter number, you know? Like, I feel like whatever you do, you can make 10 million in it. So I'm not saying be broke, okay? But what I'm saying is, find what you love, and then, you know, if you got a good like 10, 20, 30, 40, maybe 50 million, then you're pretty solid. And then if you want to make more because you love the game of money, then go make more. But as long as you're satisfied to what you need, then you're good. Okay, so I'm not saying be broke. I think maybe for some people it might make sense if it was like, I don't know, they're just like a traveling surfer, like a surfer hobo who just like goes like chases waves around the country. Maybe them could be fine. But even then, couldn't you make money off that somehow? Surely you can make a ton of money off that, so shut the fuck up. You know? With social media, you can always get fucking paid. You know what I'm saying? Any questions on what I've covered so far? Any clarification or any questions you guys have? Yep.
What would you suggest practicing to get us to get good at the banner and also get good at mentally saying wow, we're the shit to ourselves authentically?
I think that I always say that, like, if you haven't taken the time to understand why you're the fucking man, then if you get a shit test, you're gonna fail the shit test. I know what it is that I offer. So that's something that you could do as an ambient thought process, something you could do at home, something you could do as an exercise. I run trainings where I get guys to work on that.
You just like go in the mirror and say like, oh, why am I awesome?
I mean, truth is, bro, take one of my trainings, because I'd make you do it, but if you want to do the mirror, you can too. Okay? Other questions? Yep.
Yeah, so I've actually thought a lot about this. The thing that I've come up with is, to answer your question, is story. What is the story that you tell about yourself? And I don't mean the story that you throw out in front of people. You go up to girls and you think you're the hot shit. I mean, who are you behind closed doors? Who are you when you're home? Who are you when you're sitting on the shitter? Like who are you actually?
Yeah, because you don't say what he's saying is. Yeah, what he's saying is you don't say that to self-qualify. You can self-qualify only to one person. Who? Yourself. Verbally, when you're chatting, banter, joking, vibes. Because you're so internally aligned that you don't have the need to do that with them. Because you've done that with you. Other questions?
Why don't you tease us a little bit about what you talk about with Marcel and Julie and all these little micro...
Well, it's really stuff like this, you know, and we break down interactions. So we're out all the time, and then we break down interactions constantly. Oh, she did this because of this, she did this because of that, I was like this, I was like that. Like, I can pull out piles of audio messages that I'm sending to guys that I go out with, like, okay, this happened, I think it was because of this, I think it was because of that. Like, we're just breaking it down all the time. We love it, though. Like, we just talk, but to put it in context, like, we talk about it because, like, I don't know, I mean, I could talk about the Lakers. Like, I mean, I like the Lakers, you know, LeBron, right? Like, I mean, I could talk about, I don't know, Trump. Like, what do you want to talk about, right? So we just like it. It's stimulating.
But what do you talk about? Are you talking about on case-by-case basis? Like
Case by case, larger theories of human nature, what we've observed, what we've tried, what results we got, how clients took it, how we could transform a client.
So what are some examples of that micro hypnotic?
This entire speech,
Okay.
for real.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's not a quickie answer. This whole speech. Mm-hmm. I could do another speech if you want, but like, you know, this whole speech should be an example of one. Yeah. Yeah, again, like, if you love this, come on trainings. Like, come out with me and my buddies and, like, see how we approach it. We're easy to work with. We're not even that expensive. Yep.
First off, thanks for coming out, Charlotte. And
Thank you, bro.
it's something, you know.
Yeah, I was teasing. I'm just clowning you guys. Yeah, I was literally clowning you guys.
It's something.
Yeah.
What I wanted to ask is, you're talking a lot about, you know, going down this logical path, which is, like, in my view, is like taking, and then the other path is more like receiving. But as you're going down...
Oh, to be fair, I want to be clear.
Yeah.
It's also that the old path was giving under the patriarchy. Like, under the patriarchy, like again, this is what women critique about the patriarchy, which there was pros and cons. There was a lot of good things about the patriarchy built most of these buildings that you see here. Let's not dog out the patriarchy. But now we're under a matriarchy. And what women are basically telling us now is, I don't need you to be this emotionally unintelligent, unhappy, energy drained, angry, self-qualifying guy. The world's been built. Let's have some fun and let's fuck.
Sure, yeah, but where I'm kind of going with
Yeah,
this...
so it's not a value. So remember though, it's not a value. It was not a value take even 20 years ago. But society has changed.
The patriarchy and matriarchy.
Yeah.
I'm just meaning going down, like...
Because even self-qualifying was not bad 20 years ago. Like, courting a woman was not bad 20 years ago. It's just that society changed. It really has changed.
Sure, yeah, so where I'm going with this is, when you're going down this business path, at least from my perspective, it ends up being like, how are you taking? What I see you doing a lot of is, how are you receiving? And so, what I find, and you had mentioned this on a previous boot camp, is there ends up being a kink in the hose, and that kink in the hose, from my perspective, ends up being just from, I guess you could call it self-induced trauma. You have people betraying you, you know.
Oh, yeah.
You're losing, you lost all your cash, now you get all your cash back. So you end up in that, like, space where you're stuck in this logical flow. And I kind of spoken with Sid, and he's like, look, you want to meditate, you want to do all this stuff. And Warren over there just meditated for 20 minutes, and then suddenly he just pops out and just has none of these things.
Yeah.
I still find that I'm stuck in, like, that logical frame where I can, you know, I can still generate attraction, but it's logical.
Let me ask you a question. How often do you go out?
Right now, 2 times a week.
Okay. Do you, as your night gets rolling, do you find that you kind of elevate above that, or do you get stuck in it, or is it a mix?
I go up and flat.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I'm trying to, like, break through that wall, but there's like a...
I think it's the inner stuff. I think the speech was built for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the speech, if you reflect on it, would be huge.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Luckily.
I get it. What's that?
Luckily I record.
Yeah, and I'll post it. But, like, you are a guy who's deep in the entrepreneur game and so on and so forth. So it'll be a chance for you to reflect on why you do what you do, what drives you. You know, they say that when you become enlightened, a lot of time people will quit their job because they realize, I was doing that job for the wrong reason and I want to do a job that resonates more. So, you know, there's pragmatic parts of life that are practical, and there's more spiritual, emotional parts of life, and both are very important, right? So, someone says, I want to quit everything I'm doing because I want to take a shit into a hot dog bun and sell hot dog buns of shit, they're going to fail. They're like, well, I feel so good coming out of my ass. Like, they're still going to fail. So, there's a logical side too, right? They say that your passion should be where people would pay you and what you love and where that intersects. So, and that could be a challenge, right? It could be a challenge. But I think that you do have the, and it's just like honest feedback, because I have a lot of things I am working on and areas I'm, progressing myself. An area that I think that you're in process with is I can feel the pain in your pupils. I can feel the heaviness that's come from your journey. And I think it's badass. Like, I see you and I see a warrior and I see a guy that I think is dope. But to a girl, she just sees a lame-o, right? And it's, so I appreciate it, bro. I appreciate it. But unfortunately, from a woman's perspective, it's like, I can make my own money, my little HR job, and have sex with a fuckboy. And I don't need him. So, it's up to you what you want to do with that. You can do whatever you want. Yeah, no problem. Yep.
Would you say is congruency and authenticity, is that based on environment? So for example, right here.
Can I say this? I hate that I use the word authenticity, because I even use the word authenticity in my original Blueprint program, and I love the word, but I find that and I'm not saying you, but it's a way for losers to opt out. They're like, it's not authentic for me to learn social skills, so I will be an incel, and shit like that. So it's like, be careful with the word authenticity. The kind of authenticity that I'm talking about is one that leads to a deep flow state and this overwhelm of energy where you have almost a spiritual protection because you're so on your path and you're fun and you're bantering and you're loose and and there's an energy and a fidelity to you. That's the kind of authenticity that I'm talking about. Authenticity can rapidly devolve into I want to watch anime and jack off, and smoke weed, and that's what I authentically like. So it's a word that can be used for good or for evil depending how it's used.
Would you say you have like different versions of yourself depending where you are?
Yeah.
So for example, in this room, we're out at a bar versus saying.
If I'm at a bar, laughing, flowing, bantering, joking, dancing, having fun with my boys, that's what I'm doing out there. I'm not like, let's do a deep speech. That's not the time or place for that. So that's why words like authenticity can be confusing. It's authenticity plus relatability. Say authenticity plus relatability plus context. Right? Like, is what you're saying relevant to the context? If you're out there having fun or you're building attraction, that's the side of you that builds attraction. But it's that larger way that you live your life that will impact how you show up out there and your capacity to banter and to be that guy. Other questions?
What about texting? As far as the texting game, do you teach that as well, or? Because I know texting.
I would say that a lot of the principles that I spoke about here relates to that. But I'm not a big fan of texting. I like social media as a follow-up. I like video, personally.
I think that for me, texting takes me a long way. I think when I prepare everything in my text to make sure that I'm already prepared.
But see, here, come up here for a sec. So as you, I want to show you what I'm talking about. So as you're speaking, so like, say hi to the audience.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
So, how old are you?
I'm 36.
What do you do?
Management.
Okay, so I love you, bro. Like, I think you're fucking dope, okay? But to a girl, you have the look of what women would say the patriarchy did to men. I fucking love you the way you are. I think you're fucking dope. I'm just saying how many of them would perceive it. Do you see that look of kind of like, look at the audience? How he looks kind of like flat demeanor. He's had trauma. He's like even like, like that, right? That's what women say the patriarchy does to damaged guys, basically. Which is like, it's kind of like, okay, don't do my texting, right? So it basically looks like all the dudes have autism, which I actually have autism, so much love. But what I'm saying is, like, basically all the dudes look retarded to them. Like, that's what it looks like. It's like trapped in their head, super logical, doing shit they fucking hate, disconnected from themselves, and that's the assault that the patriarchy did. Look, again, I'm not pro matriarchy. I'm not pro patriarchy. I'm not pro anything. I'm just like, look, we're at where we're at. Like, if you were to talk to a Democrat, they'd have a lot of good points and they'd have a lot of bad points. You talk to a Republican, they got good points, they got bad points. Patriarchy, matriarchy, there's good points, there's bad points, there's pros, there's cons, but we can derive the value. I do think one thing that women say that has a point is we don't all have to be like autistic and miserable. So, so that's, I think, what women are trying to make us understand. So I think that you have that, like, a bit of that autistic, miserable vibe to you, but maybe you don't always. But in this moment,
I really don't, but yeah.
What's that?
No, I'm definitely more energetic, and I haven't had a lot of like good sleep in the past maybe 2 months, maybe.
Yeah.
I did get a lot of weight because I'm in school and work, but
self-qualifying, yeah.
But that's pretty much it. But my question to you was basically when it comes to.
So we do this as men because we're self-qualifying. We're self-qualifying. I've got to add more. I've got to be more, et cetera, and then it makes us. The whole thing just makes us fucking unhappy.
Yeah. So as far as the text game, I try to prepare everything so that by the time that I get the first date, we already talked about sex and having sex and doing all this other stuff, right? So that way, but I think a text for most of us now is pretty important to make sure that that we get the sex on the first date for the most part for me.
Okay.
So
imagine a woman hearing this. What does that look like to a girl? Imagine you're a woman, you hear how, I'm trying to help you. So imagine you're a woman, you're hearing how that sounds.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll go to the text game and we're gonna prepare for the sex, right? And then what's it look like he'd be like when he's having sex? Okay, we're doing the sex now. Right, now that worked when it was the 1950s. Right, that worked in the 1950s, that demeanor would have been ideal because it would show providing. Right, see how prepared he is? That'd be a great provider. But we're in a different era now. So a lot of guys don't understand the way they dress. Their dress, their demeanor, their swagger, their energy, the way they think is completely outdated. We're in a completely different world that you're not prepared for. So I'm here to prepare you, okay?
I got you.
Okay, I got you too, man. Okay?
All right. Sounds good. But you know what? I even forgot my question now. I forgot what I was trying to go with that. I think, is there any words that for a girl that's not texting you back, is there any words that may trigger her to maybe text back to you?
Imagine a girl heard that. You see I'm going this? Now, okay, this is just help. So let's look at let me show you this, okay? So look at the larger frameworks just being discussed in the speech, right? And then what happens is, now we're going back to this topic, right? So say that you're a girl, okay? And you put a lot of work into your energy, your vibe, the vibe, like everything that you've done, right? And then the man's like, yes, okay, so could we do this? Is it the sexy time now, right? Stuff like that. Can you guys see why they just get a fuckboy? Yes. Can you see why they just fucked the musician now? That's what's happening. You see that?
Oh no, for sure.
Yeah.
I definitely, I get it.
Got it?
Everything that you're saying, I do agree with it, and
cool.
I have a lot of success. I hope my friend as well too, and I show him everything and all that stuff. But for the most part, yeah, that's what I wanted to
That's
ask.
good shit. Give me a hand, guys. That's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You can, craft your vibe, but also it doesn't mean you have to have a complete unawareness of specific technical things that could be.
Well, again, I've made more money probably than this entire room combined. So my technical knowledge is 99th percentile. Okay? So what I'm saying is, if you get me in who here's ever been to one of my marketing type seminars? Anyone here ever been to one? None of you guys ever been to one? Oh man, you guys get me going. If you think this is nuanced, the understanding that I have of marketing, and particularly how to make money from scratch, is so crazy. So again, don't be limited in thinking, because you have your vibe down, you can't walk. They call that, can you walk and chew bubble gum at the same time? Okay, can I walk and chew bubble gum at the same time? So I think that both are super, super, super valuable, incredibly valuable. And women often can get away with just being fun and not having to have that other side. So we have a little bit more demanding of us, right? But men get mad at that, but in truth, it just is the way it is. Nature built it in a certain way. So, but I think any guy can learn attraction skills in 2 or 3 years. They really can at an elite level. So rather than being mad at it, why don't you be like, wait a minute, I can learn elite level attraction skills within 2 to 3 years, and then all these other guys won't know this stuff and I will, and I'm in this complete advantage. This is fucking dope. So I don't like that's where society's at collectively, but individually I benefit a lot. Like I benefit huge, okay? So like if I could snap my fingers and give away my benefits so that everybody else would have them, I would do it. But selfishly, the fact that every guy still thinks he's in the 1950s is awesome for us. It is really awesome for us. So just keep that in mind, okay? But what it does mean is that you can't just keep, like a lot of these guys, again, that talk about the looks of money thing, they're trying to solve it at like 1950s on steroids. They're not understanding that we're in a different generation now. And look, this stuff all worked. This stuff here would have worked in the 1950s. Like that girl who's like, at her husband's little, picket fence in a dog house or whatever, and the 2 kids, she would have been banging the pool boy that did this stuff. But nowadays, it's an absolute must. You absolutely have to have this kind of intelligence. And I don't even know what to do because I don't want to teach this forever. I'm not really planning to teach this forever. So I don't know what's going to happen when I stop. I'm not really sure. I don't know. I thought if I could just make some content about it and leave it up, maybe I'm hoping somebody will take the torch. I'm like, can somebody please take the torch? I have other stuff I want to do, including teaching money making. So it's just an area I happen to have put a lot of time into, and I'm hoping somebody else will grab the torch, But a lot of people people just don't want to put the time in to go out all the time. It's not a pragmatic thing to go out this much, But you guys don't have to go out as much as I did. You don't have to get to the highest level. You could just get the value that you want. Like I learned from pro improvers, but I didn't become a pro improver. But I got the benefit from taking improv. Yeah. The Jay-Z has a song, he goes, Hove did that, so hopefully you don't have to do that. Like I did this so you don't have to do it. I did this to shrink your learning curve.
It's like a foundation.
Yeah, like I did 25 years so you could learn it in 2.5. That's the whole idea.
What's the like 80-20 as far as going out? Friday, Saturday? Would that be like the 80s?
Depends how good you want to get.
If you want to get really good.
I don't think you're going to get super great in 2 days.
Oh no, I just mean like if you could go out, let's say, so I got a remote job and I can be all over the place and work on my computer for a couple hours.
I don't get the sense that you're trying to go to an elite level, but what I tell you is if you went out twice a week, you could make great progress.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, I don't get a sense from you that you want to do 100 million in sales, but I could probably show you how to make a funnel that could make you a couple million sales, potentially.
Yeah.
I think you'd be pretty happy.
Yeah.
I think you woke up tomorrow with 3.5 million in your bank tomorrow, you'd be a happy guy.
I feel great, yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't. But you probably would.
Yeah.
Right? I wouldn't. But there's guys that if they had the amount of money I have would also be miserable. So everybody has a different level that they're looking for. Yep.
How do you keep up your energy for an extended period to make you are?
Everything I taught in this speech, that alignment feeds you energy. Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm.
To the question earlier.
Louder!
To the question earlier regarding like text game, do you feel when the vibe's good, it makes text game kind of irrelevant?
What scares me is that I just gave this incredible talk and this is what you're looping on. It terrifies me for you. I mean, this speech was historical. This was I'm not trying to be arrogant. This was a historical speech. And you're like, how do I text a girl? Like, it's so bad.
Like, the vibe is important. I was thinking.
Vibe. Do you see what's happening to you? This is why women don't want to fuck guys these days. You're literally proving the point. Like, this girl's like an oracle who's like summoning energy from other dimensions. The guy's like, could I have some steak? You see that? To meet the girls where they're at today, you're going to have to expand your range. Just the truth. The texting is the least of your problems. We want to know what my text game looks like? I forget to text them back and they keep texting and texting and texting and texting and texting.
Okay, thank you.
Like, I forget and then I get blown up. That's mostly what's happening. Like that's it's like yeah, like it's trying to make something happen when the energy's not there, right? If they like you It doesn't matter that much what you text.
Yeah, that makes sense, because the girls I've done the best with, like the vibe was really there. From
You get
the
it.
start.
Yeah. Yeah, you get it.
Also, I've noticed usually when the vibe's there, it's like there are things that I've noticed I can always say that if this girl was a dude, I'd be her friend.
Cool.
But if I can't say that, I've noticed usually those interactions end horrible.
I think that's a great analysis. I like that a lot. It's really good. Other quick questions? Yep.
So going into I'm not political at all. Like I'm not Democrat or Republican. So I don't give a shit. But I find your opinion on this really interesting. I just wanted to touch on it for a second. So like as far as like the historical role of women that have, within the Western world, do you want to officialize this as an actual matriarchy, like that we live in?
We're definitely in a matriarchy.
Yeah, like for real.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah, and the thing is this, okay? So I have the capacity to look past whatever is my opinion, whether politically or whatever, right, socially. I'm not just like, I am a guy, therefore I think like a guy and I want only best for guys. I can see past my own, what I was born as a man, and just be like, what would be fair in general for everybody? Here's the bottom line. Men these days are mostly pussies, okay? And so as a result, women wanted it more. They wanted it more. So they went out and they got theirs. And now men are sitting around going, why is it not like the 50s? Like that, as losers. And their tears have no weight behind them and no power behind them at all. So if someone is just going to, look, if someone's just going to allow themselves to get put in that position, I don't really feel some inner need to go, like look, if you're lazy and you don't want to work, I don't need to show up at your house and do your work for you. If guys wanted a different result, they could have easily had it. They didn't. They lived off of the fumes of work of a better generation of men than them. The previous generation of men were better than we are collectively. So as a result, they had a better situation. Men got lazy, they were entitled, and they thought everything was going to stay the same. It didn't, and it changed. So as a result of that, men have two choices. They could either wake the fuck up, and they could put things how they were before, or they could say, you know what? Maybe there is some useful thing that I'm being shown here, and I don't have to be this miserable autistic retard, and I can still get girls and eventually have a family. Right? So we can make it where, the guy comes, like we do this crazy energetic speech, and then I'm not trying to give you a hard time, but you come up and you go, show me how to do the text. Like that. We can make it where you can stay like that and get a wife. That would be regressing and putting society back to what it was into more traditional, where a guy's like, show me the text. That guy can get a wife. But that guy can't get a wife anymore. For the most part, not across the board, but for the most part. Women don't need it because they have fuckboys now. They have their own job. We can put it back like that. Or, God forbid, we could just do a little bit of social skills training, and then we don't need to put things back to how they were before, and we can all just move forward together. Right? Could women maybe have a point? Like, could it be okay that if I just did a speech like that it slightly annoys me that if a guy comes up and goes, show me the text? Like, is that okay? I love you, by the way, and I love you, but is it okay that I would feel that way?
Of course.
Yeah, it's okay. That's how women feel. Women are in this whole other dimension, spiritually, emotionally, and the men are not able to meet them there. And then what men are doing is they're going, well, they need us to be a celebrity and a billionaire and jack. And the girl's like, no, I don't. That's not what I need. I just need you not to be retarded. That's all they're saying. They're like, just have fun with me and I'll fuck you, dude. Like, why? Like when girls see a lot of the red pill stuff, they're like, dude, just have fun with me and I'd fuck you. Why are you acting crazy? Like, just have a bit of fun with me and I'd have sex with you. Like, why are you being so crazy? I'm super approachable. Just come and talk to me. Don't be so trapped in your fucking head. That's all they're asking. They're not asking for anything that crazy. They're really not. Look, I worked on this for decades because I love it. But the average guy does not need to do that. It's just that the reason why it takes a couple years is because you have to unwire the damage. You have to unwire the damage. That's why. But if you were starting from baseline 0 without the damage, you could learn all this in about 3 days. It's just the damage is so deep. The self-qualification, the inferiority, the self-hatred, the neurotic holding patterns. You have to unwire all that, which is tough.
How do you do that? Like with the speech? Well, I heard the speech, but the speech is like, there's a place of...
Take a training, bro. Look, take a training, okay? Look, the trainings I do are not even that expensive, bro. Get on the goddamn training. You'll hate yourself for the rest of your fucking life if you don't. You know, because you'll be like, I'm ready for like 5 years. Like, I'm ready for the training. I won't be doing them anymore. And you're gonna fucking be so pissed. So do a training maybe. I mean, I think I gave a lot of the answers here, but I'm telling you, if you do a training, you'll get it, okay?